Hello and welcome to NXTGEN Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to NXTGEN Racing, live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and live on Kick. This is Thursday night iterations of racing at NXTGEN Racing, and it is the GT3 League. And this is round 7 of the 10-round championship, and we're here at Zolder. And the first thing you'll notice, there's rain. Well, it's not rain, it's a wet track. As you can see, the spray tailing off the cars just behind the graphic there. And yeah, so I'm very, very excited. If you've been watching these championships for the last 2 seasons, you'll know how excited I've been about receiving the wet weather in this league. And as we're heading in towards winter, it's going to become more likely. But we'll get into that very, very shortly. A little bit about the track before we get started. Round 7 is hosted here at Zolder, which is referred to as 2 titles, really. One is the Home of DTM, because the DTM has placed its kind of, well, home, I suppose, with Zolder. With it being the German Touring Car League, it's venturing out into Holland and even Belgium now. So, yeah, very interesting times for Zolder and DTM, of course, as they move over to GT3, similar to what we've got tonight. And it's also known as the Circuit Terleman. I'm not sure why, but it's another name for the track, but we all refer to it as Zolder Circuit. It's in the northeast region of Belgium, about 20 kilometres west of Genk and about 70 kilometres east of Brussels. It was built in 1963 and it hosted the Formula 1 Belgian Grand Prix from 73 until 83, and its departure from the calendar was due to the tragic event of Gilles Villeneuve losing his life here at this circuit, rather unfortunately. But the circuit still lives on in his memory, and some brilliant races hosted here over the years, and each year in August it hosts the 24 hours of Zolder since 1983 until now. It has been hosting that prestigious race here at this heritagical circuit, I would call it. It is a 2.5 mile circuit, or 4 kilometres if that's your measurement system, and officially there are 10 turns, apparently, but I count more. I count 17, ladies and gentlemen, so we'll go on my measurement there. There's 7 turns to the left and 10 to the right. There's quite a few curves on this track, and a few kinks left and right here and there, but generally 17 turns on this track. The format for tonight, as you can see in the list on the right of our graphic there, we have a sprint and feature race coming up tonight, as well as qualifying. Qualifying will start on the hour at 8 o'clock UK time, and that will be followed by the sprint race, where the grid for that will be set by the results of qualifying. And we have the feature race as well later on, ladies and gentlemen, which is a 1 hour race where it will feature pit stops, particularly with a wet track. That's going to be interesting. But that's going to be hosted just past 9 o'clock. It'll be a 1 hour race, and the grid for that will be based on the results of the sprint race, but reversed and grouped by category. So let's get into more housekeeping, shall we, before we get properly started with tonight's racing. This is, as we mentioned, the NXTGEN Racing GT3 Season 6, and it is Thursday night racing hosted by NXTGEN Racing. My name's Alex Everett, your commentator tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in on Facebook, YouTube and Kick. Tonight is the sprint and feature race format, as we mentioned, and it will be preceded by qualifying. And this is a fixed setup series, which means that all drivers in their cars are given the setup that they must drive in these races. They cannot change the setup. I mean, iRacing blocks them from changing anything. That means they can't change wing settings, ride height, tyre pressures, damper settings, nothing like that. The only thing they're allowed to change is the brake bias, which is an in-car adjustment, and that is the only help they've got. Particularly for tonight, that's going to be quite problematic for the drivers, as the varying weather means they can be playing around with the brake bias to try and get the best they can out of the car, and how that can adapt the setup and the feeling of the car. So it can be very interesting. You can still sign up to the series if you are interested in driving GT3s and driving on iRacing and interested in driving in NXTGEN Racing in general. The pricing on the top right is full season entry fees. I believe there are discounts for late entries into the championship. But if you scan the QR code on the bottom left there, or click the Discord link in the description of these videos, you can get access to Next Gen Racing Discord server, where you can get in touch with the admins and you can get involved in the racing. Or you can just join the community and just keep an eye on all the gossip and all the drama that takes place behind the scenes. It's a bit like a Formula 1 drivers WhatsApp group, only a little bit bigger, more drivers. Yeah, it's a bit like that. The prize givers for this series are Only Racing. £500 store credits will be given to the winner of this series at the conclusion of this season. And a shout out to the other partners, sponsors and affiliates of Next Gen Racing that include Power Max Racing, Sam Cases, Benji Sim Photos, Douglas Motorsport, Motorsport UK Esports Division, Falconer PC, Mark Sykes Design, Joyce Design, Moser Racing, and of course Only Racing. These are the tracks we'll be visiting this season. We started off all them months ago, 2 months ago nearly, at Fuji in Japan. Road America hosted round 2 of the season, and round 3 was the first of 3 endurance rounds of the season, which was hosted at Monza in Italy. We were back in Japan for round 4 of the championship at Suzuka, and then we were in Spain for round 5 of the championship to see out the first half of the season at Catalunya in Barcelona, Spain. It was a week off between rounds 5 and 6, but when we came back to last week's round 6, it was at the Nordschleife, the Green Hell, and what a dramatic round that was indeed, which hosted the second of 3 endurance rounds of the season. Today, though, we're at Zolder in Belgium, but next week we'll be heading off to Interlagos, which just hosted Formula 1, of course, and it was probably one of the best races we've ever seen in Formula 1, actually, so who knows what we're going to get from these guys next week at Interlagos in Brazil. And then in 2 weeks from today, we'll be at the Nürburgring again, but it'll just be the Grand Prix circuit. And then at the start of December, for the final round of the championship, we'll be at the Daytona Road Course to host the final round of the championship at the legendary venue that hosts the Daytona 500 every year and the 24 Hours of Daytona. These are the cars that are available for choice for the drivers this season, and they include the Audi R8, GT3, the BMW M4, the Chevrolet Corvette, the Ferrari 296, the Ford Mustang, the Lamborghini Huracan, the McLaren 720S, the Mercedes AMG, and the Porsche 911. They're all GT3 cars, and they are 9 to choose from. The drivers can change their cars during the season, but the consequence of that is a 50-point penalty. I believe we have seen a driver change car. I'm just going to quickly see who it is so I can Craig Tillotson has changed car this season, so he'll relinquish 50 points from his championship tally. That is the consequence for changing cars. So in a nutshell, choose your car at the start of the season and try and live with it, I suppose. But some drivers like to change cars during the season, as they like to prepare for next season. If they think they're not on for a championship or anything like that, they can change their mind and prepare themselves for next season. Now, something I've immediately noticed with these shots here, so we see the cars going through, we're on a drying track at the moment. So that's very, very interesting. Sad for me, actually. A little bit of a rooster tail coming off the back of the Quatermass and CSA car just then over the hill. But we have got a mostly dry track now. Earlier, it was wet. So, yeah, as we're heading towards qualifying, we've got varying conditions, which means that it's going to be a very loose track, and it's going to be a bit of a gamble, I would say, for tyres. There's a little bit of a virtual time skip from in between the sessions, so we'll have to keep an eye on this little graphic here. So towards the bottom of the graphic where it says mostly dry, that's what we're keeping an eye on. There is more chance of rain later in the night, so we just have to keep an eye on things. But this could be the round where weather is prominent, I would say, because the whole time I've been commentating Next Gen GT3 series, it's mostly been summertime, and as we're heading into winter now, there's more chance of rain. But let's come back to that very, very shortly. We're going to go through the championship standings as we head into tonight's round. So we'll start with the gold category, and it is, of course, Benjamin McCluskey who still leads the championship by some margin, by more than 50 points, which is a very, very safe margin as we're heading towards the latter part of the season, but can't afford any mistakes, can Benjamin McCluskey, and last week there were none. It took him a while to get through the pack, as it normally does actually in these races, I've noticed, but he does it very cleanly, I've noticed, and he does it very finely in the time allowed in the race. But a second place last time keeps his championship lead very much intact. And it was a debut win for the season for Stephen Bird of Yorkshire Mafia Racing, who, as a result, takes second place in the championship from Gaz Williams, our host of the series, but only 9 points behind Stephen Bird, so still a chance for him to challenge back at the Yorkshire Mafia driver. Edwin Simpson is fourth in the championship. He missed last time out at Nürburgring, likewise with Gavin Gardner, who might have actually retired from the race, Gavin Gardner might have, but they are fourth and fifth, respectively, in the championship. Mike Barber was looking pretty good in Nordschleife last time out, but an instep for him dropped him out of contention, but he remains sixth in the championship heading into tonight. Sean Shute, seventh, followed by Martin Hobson, Matthew Cheverton and Jake Pitt, rounding off the top 10 of the gold category. And in the silver category, we've got Kyle Oosthuizen still at the top of the table, but the gap has been considerably closed, as Nigel Stock, with a good result, third place for him, and a bad result for Kyle Oosthuizen last time out, means Nigel Stock closes to within 4 points of the South African driver as we head into this final 40% of the season. Had to use a bit of maths, if you can tell there. But last week, actually closing up the gap considerably as well, only 2 points behind the leader, is teammate of Kyle Oosthuizen. It's Jeffrey Kruger. He won Nordschleife last time out and got the bonus 2 points for fastest lap as well, just for good measure. And that puts him within 10 points and back into the top 3 of the championship. He's last season's bronze category champion. Can he do back-to-back championships, but do it in silver this year? We'll find out. Ian Manners, 4th position, with Matthew Addy behind in 5th. Mark Baker, 6th position, with Mark Sykes in 7th. Baz Meacham in 8th. Kevin Smith in 9th. And Jochen Siegert in 10th. Over to the bronze category now, and a very, very exciting battle just keeps going on in this category. And I would say it's very much a 3, maybe 4 horse race in the bronzes at the moment. But at the top of the standings, it's our Nordschleife winner, Andy Rooney, at the top of the table. He had a brilliant comeback at Nordschleife to take the win in round 6 of the championship. And as a result, as a reward for himself, he takes the lead in the championship, but only by 3 points from teammate Adam Wilson-Weir, who also had a good result. Fastest lap and 3rd place last time out at Nordschleife, which means he's 2nd place. Elwyn Sykes drops 2 places to 3rd, but he is only 5 points off of top spot, so a good response from him this week. He could take it back. Gabriel Papaconstantino did miss last week, but that'll serve as his drop round. It effectively means he's relying on having good or better than average rounds for the rest of the season, but don't write him off, as he has been top of the pile for the much of the season, and there's no saying he can't get it back at some point tonight or even in the next few rounds. Kurt Van Honecker is back tonight after missing... no, sorry, he didn't miss last week. He finished 4th last week. I'm confusing with someone else. Yeah, he's 5th in the championship, stepping up the table a little bit in recent rounds. Stein Vatens had his best round of the season last time out at the Nordschleife, but 2nd place for him, dropped from 1st place due to damage to the car, but still a good result for him nonetheless, and puts him to 6th in the championship. Andy Chell is 7th, who we spoke to in the commentary booth last time for an interview. He's kind of written off his season and he's put his focus into helping his teammates now, but he sits 7th in the bronze championship anyway. Rob Savage, 8th position, followed by teammate Jonathan Berry in 9th, and Stephen de Gravelia, who's missed a few rounds and misses tonight again, but he'll be back next week. He sits 10th. And the team's championship. It's Next Gen Racing Benji Sim Photos still at the top of the table by 97 points clear. And their drivers consist of Alan McCain, Ben McCluskey and Gaz Williams, and they are 97 points clear, as I mentioned, in front of Quatermass Power Drivers Academy, which consists of Andy Chell, John Berry and Adam Wilson-Weir. CSA Team Pass Up, Elwyn Sykes, Chris Shorter and Stefan Wessels are 3rd, following a very good round at the Nordschleife, and their fellow team, Team Wozer, driven by Wesley Lewin, Edwin Simpson and Kyle Oosthuizen, are 4th, just 1 point ahead of Quatermass Motorsport, Ben Bennyworth, Andy Rooney and Rob Savage. So there we go. They are the championship standings heading into tonight. And the reason there are categories in this championship, ladies and gentlemen, is because it splits it up. As we saw a car come flying across the screen there. Not to be laughed about in real life, but it's virtual racing, so you can laugh about those silly things. Yeah, so the reason there are categories in this championship is so we can split out the kind of skills of the drivers, so everyone in the field is fighting for a championship, I suppose, or fighting for race wins, shall we say. And that's why it's so good to have split categories, because it gives drivers on all ends of the field a good crack at silverware. So we're heading into qualifying now, and the significance of qualifying in the sprint and feature race format is that the grid is formed on an overall basis rather than split by category groups. So we will be looking at overall standings for this session right now. And as the drivers head out onto a drying, but still a wet track, they're going to be squabbling for where they go out on the track. Now, with the track being slightly wet, and with this track being Zolder, it's quite a short and narrow track, traffic is going to be a bit of a trouble for a lot of these drivers. It's going to be difficult to pull over for other drivers, and also there's going to be cars everywhere on the circuit. Now, we have a 40-plus car field here, ladies and gentlemen, so finding, a clear road in front of you is going to be difficult on this track as we get further and further into the session. So that's the key thing to look out for tonight, is drivers who can get into a good open space and have a nice clean lap. So let's turn our attention to last week's gold category winner, when I can find him in the list of drivers that are right in front of me. Here we go, Stephen Bird. He's going to give us a tour of Zolder, because we always do it with Ben McCluskey, and we thought we'd give him a night off here. But we're going to give a tour of the track from last week's winner at the Nordschleife, Stephen Bird, who had to come through the pack and did it so well. I seem to remember one lap he gained something like 5 positions in one lap. Mind you, it's the Nordschleife. It's a bit easier to do that there rather than other places, but it's still impressive nonetheless if you watched it. So here we go. This is a lap of Zolder Circuit on board with Stephen Bird of Yorkshire Mafia Racing. So we're heading up towards turn number 1, which is called Erster. Left-hander, in we go, and let's see the gears. There was a third gear corner below, 100 miles per hour. Now the right-hander of Sterrenwachtbocht, if I've pronounced that right, and I think it's going to be the case with a lot of corners right here. Turn 3, Kanalbocht, and now we head fast into the right-hander of Lucien Biancabocht. Try not to touch too much gravel on the left-hand side there. As we head down one of the longest straights and fastest sections of the track, we'll head towards the infamous Kleine Chicane, and a car off on the left there. Not going to bother Stephen Bird too much, I reckon. And he gets a nice clean run through the curb. Now, the key with the curbs there is not to hit them too hard, because it could send the car airborne. Round the Butte corner and into the complex of the Terlemenbocht, which I suppose is what the track is named after. There we go, we found that out. And he's keeping the revs really low, if you notice, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to the car. And that's to prevent wheel spin. And it looks like Stephen Bird is on the fastest outright time of the field at the moment. Hard on the brakes as he turns into the apex there of the... I can't pronounce it, it's a very long name. The hairpin, we'll call it. Through the Rindt corner, and into the Jackie X corner now. Second gear, still keeping the revs really low, and that is the key here at Zolder, in a wet Zolder anyway, not to get too much wheel spin. And that's a lap on board with Stephen Bird. It flew by, to be honest. It's only a 1.5 minute lap, and to be honest, that lap time was a little bit longer in practice because it was significantly wetter in practice, but it's a mostly dry circuit now, as you can see there. That's a good starting lap, a good opening statement from Stephen Bird, our last week's winner. Let's check on his direct championship rival for the moment. It is Ben McCluskey. And he's heading into the Terlemeng corner, or complex, shall we say. Or again, a bit squirrely through there. Might not be such a good lap from Ben McCluskey, so we'll turn our attentions away from him for the time being. Kyle Oosthuizen was quick in practice, so very important that he gets some good results tonight, because he needs to respond in the championship. He's now under a bit of pressure, I would say, from Nigel Stock in the championship, as we see a car off on the back that looked like one of the Verano cars. It hasn't. It was Kevin Smith. But as the drivers come through on the standings, Stein Vatens goes pole position for the bronze category. And the reason I say pole position, even though we're looking at this overall and he's 4th, it still means the drivers get bonus points in their category for qualifying on pole position. Mark Kent puts himself 4th place, but let's take a look to Stephen Bird, who is a bit slower in sectors 2, sectors 3 and 4, but he was very good in sectors 1 and 2. Crosses the line. Does he go quicker? No, he doesn't. Much slower, actually. He might have made a mistake in the final few corners. Nigel Stock, let's take a look to him. He crosses the line. He goes 25th at the moment, so not a great start for him. But Paul Williams, a very good start for him. He puts himself 3rd in category. Kyle Oosthuizen. Let's see how he gets on this lap. We've got a good lap from Kurt Van Honecker just then. He puts himself 5th in overall and 1st in the bronzes. Kyle Oosthuizen, sorry. He crosses the line. Doesn't go quicker. So it's going to be a very mixed bag, I would say. It's going to be one of the most crucial qualifying sections of the season because it's partially wet. Oh, as you see Mike Reedner go a little bit wide there after doing his PB. And Ben Bennyworth crosses the line. He's gone even quicker. And he was already at the top of the standings anyway. He puts himself 2nd place of the golds and 3rd overall. He's last season's silver category champion, remember? And if you can see on the screen, ladies and gentlemen, it is starting to rain. So that means that the early part of this session might well have set the grid, because it's only going to get wetter and wetter now and less grippy. But still, there are times coming through which are looking impressive. Elwyn Sykes puts himself 9th overall. Up there goes Ben McCluskey. He's put himself into 3rd position. So it's still a fairly quick track. There's still drivers getting the laps in, but they have to get him in now because it's only going to get worse and worse. There's a car off on the exit of turn 1 there. I think that's Mark Kent. He's gone back to the pits now, but we turn our attention there to Stefan Wessels as he's put himself 3rd in category. Who else have we got out on the track at the moment? Kurt Van Honecker might be finishing a lap here, but it looks to be slower. I've got a feeling this might have done it. Drivers don't seem to be going quicker at the moment. There's no drivers flying up on the screen at the moment except for Ian Manners. Papa Constantino has also put himself up there. He was quick in practice, but he's only 5th in category, 14th in the field. Gaz Williams, our host of the series, is 9th overall. But look at the mixed results here. This bronze mixed in with silver, silver's mixed in with the gold. Hobson has put himself up to 23rd. Very shortly, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to become too wet for these drivers because the rain is falling. It's just going to get worse and worse. Stephen Bird's a good benchmark, I would say, to see if the track is getting better or worse. There are green sectors appearing. Ben McCluskey crosses the line. Is this quicker? Yes, it is. He goes 2nd. It's not pole position, but it's 2nd place, and it means that the track is still at an optimal pace. Wessels goes even quicker as well. He puts himself into 2nd place. Pippin McCluskey down a notch. Stephen Bird, what can he do? No, this is not going to be quicker. He's going to cross the line on a 31. Kurt Van Honecker. It was an impressive looking 2nd sector from him, but the rest are not as good. But let's see how he gets on. 8th place at the moment. Doesn't improve. Nigel Stock doesn't improve his time either. He stays 32nd at the moment. We've got Paul Williams across the line, but also welcome back to Jim McClawn, our American resident in the field. Missed a few rounds, but he's back here tonight. 17th he has just put himself into. Kevin Smith, he's just put himself up to 18th position. He had a good start to the race last time out at the Nordschleife, but it didn't quite go in his favour later on in the race. We'll see how he'll get on tonight. Stein Vatens also had a pretty good start to last time out, but I can't find him in my standings at the moment. Where is he on here? There he goes. He's in 6th place, and that is the time he set earlier on. Now the times are coming down. They're looking more like 32 seconds, 1 minute 32s now. So this might have been it. There's a lot of yellow sectors popping up for the drivers here. I think this might have been it. This is where the track kind of keels over in the wetness. Andy Chell's going quicker though. Oh, is he? Oh, it was very gingered through the final corner there. I don't know if that's going to improve things. It's not going to. It's going to be slower. I think we have seen it in qualifying. So I think what it's going to be now for the drivers is effectively practice. I think we've got our grid now. Oh, it's Andy Chell. Takes a big spin and a big hit against the wall there. Now, he's changed cars, I've noticed. He's in the Mustang. I mean, it doesn't look like a Mustang now. It's, well, it's ruined. But, yeah, he's changed cars. He's taken a 50-point cut. And like I said, there's going to be drivers who are taking tactical car switches in order to prepare for next season. On a very lightly wet track now, which means, yeah, loads of drivers are in the pits, so they're going to be changing over to wets. And this effectively becomes a practice session for the race now, because the race start time follows almost immediately after this qualifying session. So the weather is not going to change too much. Oh, it's full tilt meets full tilt there. Oh, on the straight, they just about avoided each other. And that was Mark Kent meeting up with Ben Outra on the track there. So as it stands, our pole sitters are Stephen Bird, Kyle Oosthuizen and Stein Vatens. Now Stein Vatens has really come a form lately. He was very quick at the Nordschleife last time out. And he seems to be, well, he has been quick in the wet tonight. And he holds pole position for the moment in the bronze category. And remember, this is an overall grid. So all the cars will start together. I believe there are a couple of drivers who are serving back at grid penalties. Wesley Lewin's one of them. I think Mike Barber is another. So there's a couple of drivers not on the board just yet. 35 have set times, and there are 39 in the server right now. The Stein Vatens brakes a little bit too late for the chicane here. And the thing is, with a track that's just getting wetter and wetter, it's changing your braking markers and your the amount you need to brake, the speed you need to take through the corners. It changes that all the time, and that's what they say about driving in the wet. You know, how good the car is, how good your setup is, all that's out the window. It's all down to the driver. There's an element of it that comes down to how good the car is and how good the setups are. But remember, in this series, ladies and gentlemen, they're on fixed setups. So, whereas the setup might be fairly optimal for dry weather driving, not so much the wet. So it is going to be a race purely down to skill here, as it usually is with these fixed setup races. And I think there was a little bit of luck involved in qualifying as well, because if you manage to time your lap to the point where the track was at its peak and get the lap in, and your tyres are warmed up enough, that was the time to set your time. So like I said, ladies and gentlemen, it effectively becomes a practice session, and drivers getting a bit of practice in on the wet here to prepare for the race. And we've got 7 minutes left of this session where drivers are going to be struggling. Now you can see how he was crawling his way through the corner then, was Ben McCluskey. That's how tricky driving in the wet can be on iRacing. So let's get an on board just to see what it's kind of like from the driver's point of view. Windscreen wiper going right in front of him. Now, it's not so bad when there's no one in front of you, but when there's drivers in front of you kicking up the spray, that's when it gets really tricky. And on a track like this, it's quite shaded from all the trees. I didn't want to take that corner either, Ben. But, yeah, with all the trees around, the shade, and all the precipitation, like, beaming up off the track, it's going to be very tricky in the mid-pack to see where you're going on a track like this, with it being so narrow as well. There's nowhere to go. I mean, it's so easy going to go off the track. So, lap one, what I'm saying is lap one's going to be tricky. Very tricky. We knew it was going to be anyway. It's Zolder. It's a notoriously difficult lap one. Verano contingent on the YouTube chat yet again. Kevin's doing his rain dance. Well, I was having a chat with him earlier on Discord, and normally his rain dance often scares off the rain, but tonight it hasn't. So yeah, he can still do his rain dance. A couple of drivers still out on the track, getting their practice in. Kyle Oosthuizen, although he's got 4th overall here, which is a brilliant, brilliant result. And likewise with Stijn Vatens and Kurt van Hoeniger and Bas Meacham, all in the top 10 overall. Not many gold drivers. And there are 12 in the field, and considering there's only 6 in the top 10. That just proves how much of a lottery this can be, driving in the wet. But how much it can mix up the field. Nigel Stock heading out on track. Last 5 minutes, get a little bit of practice in. And this is another thing to consider. Which of these cars are going to be better in the wet than others? Now, I always, back in my karting days, there was always a thing where drivers struggled to get themselves closer to the minimum weight requirement. They're often overweight by a couple of kilos. And actually, when it rained, they were at an advantage. So I just wonder if the bigger cars here are going to be the better cars. Like the Mustang, like the BMW. But looking at the standings, if I can try and get the manufacturers on display here. Yeah, they are already on display. Yeah, Ferraris, McLarens, Porsches towards the top. Interesting to see Porsche contingent up there. But a lot of McLarens in the field anyway, so it looks like they're dominating the stands. They dominate the grid generally. Nice shiny new toy for the drivers to use, so they used it. But speaking of new content, not necessarily anything coming in GT3 world soon, but iRacing seems to be having a new Ferrari prototype in the shape of a former recent Le Mans winner. Coming to iRacing apparently, so if we do go back to prototypes, it'd be interesting to see that car on our screens here. So definitely one of the most frantic qualifying sessions. Calm down now, obviously, but yeah, the first 2 laps were crucial, as you mentioned. Oh yeah, do excuse me, Verano. Yes, the Acura NSX GT3 car is coming to iRacing, yes. I stand corrected. So another GT3 car joined us, and I have no news of what we're doing next season for Next Gen Racing on Thursdays. No idea at the moment. I might ask Gaz after this tonight. But, yeah, who knows? Prototypes, GT3s, something else. Who knows? I'm sure we'll find out in the coming weeks. But I suppose once the season's over, we'll go off and enjoy Christmas and New Year, and then we'll come back to the New Year with some more sim racing. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, drivers are just getting themselves a little bit of practice ready for the race. It is quite wet on the track here, so it's going to be... and it's only going to get worse, so these drivers are really trying to find where's best on the track to position the car. You've got to avoid little dips in the road here and there where all the puddles are. You've basically got to find the optimal lines through the corner where the grip is best. But that changes all the time. That's the other thing. And the starting grid for this sprint race coming up very shortly, ladies and gentlemen, is based on the overall standings we've got on our left there. That is how the grid is formed for the sprint races. But for the feature race grid, it will be the results of the sprint race reversed by category. So we could go back into the category splits later on in the night. But all drivers will be starting together for this opening race of the night, which historically this season has been quite chaotic, actually. Let's just have a little bit of a shout out to new drivers tonight. We've got 2 new drivers in here tonight. We've got Ryan Blackwell, new driver to the new team of Quatermass Motorsport. And we've also got in the field Sammy Ariba, teammate of Ryan, of course, driving for Quatermass Motorsports, third team joining the championship. So welcome to the series to them. Pleasure to have them. Heading towards the end of qualifying, of course, we're not going to get any better times from the field here. It is going to be Stephen Bird taking pole overall and taking the bonus point for gold category, and taking the bonus point for silvers, Kyle Oosthuizen, and for the bronze category, Stein Vatens. On the left there is how they'll start on the grid for the sprint race. 39 drivers tonight, another strong grid here at Next Gen Racing. So a big praise there to the admins of the series that keep the ship afloat, that run the whole ship. So there we go. We're brined up a little bit. I wonder if there's going to be a little bit of a... Still cloudy. I just wondered if the sun was going to creep out on us then. But there we go. That's qualifying pretty much done and dusted. As you can see on the left there, the majority of the results. So it's going to be interesting to see all the drivers in different categories. I'll call it mingling with one another. But remember that the points that the drivers score are based on where they finish in their categories, not where they finish overall. So whereas the grid is mixed here, it is very much where they finish in their categories. But I guess with that, having as many cars between you and your rivals in the field, take Kyle Oosthuizen for example. He's got another 4 cars between him and Baz Meacham in second place, which means he's relatively safe in that first spot, at least until things start going down, shall we say, in lap 1. Narrow track here, and quite a short track, and quite a technical track is Zolder. I said in the description, it's probably going to be one of the trickier rounds of the season, and to add to that, it's wet. So this could be one of the more interesting races of the season. A couple of drivers still finishing off some laps out there. And when they do finish, we'll move on to the results of qualifying and the grid for race 1 of the night. And there we go. We'll pass over to the race session now. And without further ado, we'll give you our grid for tonight's sprint race. So starting on pole position for round 7 at Zolder, the sprint race, is going to be Stephen Bird taking his first pole position of the season. And he'll start alongside Stefan Wessels in second position. Ben McCluskey, our championship leader, is third in the gold category, but our championship leader of the silver category will start alongside him in 4th overall. Ben Bennyworth, his best qualifying position of the season so far, 5th for him, with Stein Vaten's pole position for bronze, an impressive 6th position overall. Ben Altrier will start in 7th position, with Kurt Van Honecker alongside him in 8th position. Baz Meacham will line up 9th with Gaz Williams, our host of the series, alongside in 10th. Adam Wilson-Weir in 11th place with Elwyn Sykes alongside him. They're both close championship rivals, so that could be fireworks between them in this race. Paul Williams in 13th with Mark Kent in 14th. Gabriel Papaconstantino, back after a week off, is in 15th. Mark Baker 16th with Gene McLaughlin in 17th. Kevin Smith 18th. Ian Manners 19th with Matthew Addy alongside him on the 10th row. Martin Hobson and Mike Reedner will line up 21st and 22nd. John Berry in 23rd with Paul Walsh, fellow commentator of mine, in 24th. Mark Sykes, Next Gen Racing boss, is in 25th with Aaron Hobson alongside in 26th. Sean Shute 27th with Andy Chell, who has changed car for tonight, 28th. Ryan Blackwell, debut tonight, is in 29th with Craig Tillotson, who has also changed car. He's in 30th. Matt Gatter in 31st with Nigel Stock in 32nd. Jamie Dory, the Next Gen Touring Car Championship host, is 33rd, with Sammy Ariba on his debut in 34th. Rob Savage 35th with Mike Barber in 36th. And Mike Barber has taken a back grid penalty tonight. Alan McCain 37th and Andy Rooney 38th. Wesley Lewin also a back grid penalty 39th. So there we go. That's the grid for tonight's sprint race. And as we finish that off in good timing, we move off of the grid and we'll start our formation lap. So we've still got a wet track, as we can see there, ladies and gentlemen. So it's going to be a very difficult first lap. The tyres are going to be cold. The brakes are going to be cold. Generally, the drivers are going to be heading into the unknown with these corners, not knowing where the optimal braking points are going to be. Hello, Matt Cheverton in the comments. Welcome along, mate. It's a shame you're not racing tonight, but avoiding the wrestling match. That's a good analogy. Hopefully we see you back next week. But thank you for tuning in. Right, here we go. Round 7 at Zolder, about to get underway. Like I said, this could be one of the more dramatic and more interesting rounds of the championship. Because we've got wet weather properly for the first time in a very long time, actually. This is interesting. So, the drivers must maintain safety car speed until the lights turn green. And when the lights turn green, they can floor it. Stephen Bird will lead us to the line here at Zolder for our opening race of the night. Lights are green, away we go. Stephen Bird heads them off and the spray kicks up from the cars as we head down towards turn number 1. Ben Bennyworth is already trying to get out of the spray to get a good view of turn number 1. And as we head through, whoa, big understeers, we head towards turn number 1. Contact between Benji McCluskey and Stephen Bird already, and off the track is also Ben Bennyworth. Already carnage at the front, but heading away is Stefan Wessels, and right behind him is Kyle Oosthuizen. And Stein Vatens is right behind as well. Good start for them, but a bad start for our pole sitter Stephen Bird and Ben McCluskey. Let's see if any drivers head off the track here. So far, okay, I would say. Drivers are just trying to take it easy at the moment, but as we head into the chicane, this is a very tricky part of the track. Ben McCluskey's got damage on his car. This probably is the point in the season where things have not quite gone right for him. But let's see how much that affects him. He seems to be okay at the moment. He's maintaining 4th behind Ben Altria. Good start for him. 4 places gained already. Drivers filtering their way into the chicane here. Another tight, slow section on the track. But they're all single file at the moment. I think they're thinking fairly sensibly about things. Oh no, there's a spin there. That's Paul Walsh. Paul Walsh is off the track there. And as we take a quick replay, that might have involved Andy Chell as well. So this is Paul Walsh. He's got Jamie Dory behind him. Jamie Dory's to his inside. And I think that is Andy Chell on his inside. And contact between the two. That sends Paul Walsh round. And at the end of lap 1, it is a good start to this race for Stefan Wessels as he leads away from his teammate. But he's in silver categories. Kyle Oosthuizen at the front there. Brilliant start for him. Championship leader Ben McCluskey involved in an incident at turn number 1 without a front bumper is in 4th here. And Kurt Van Honecker leads in the bronze category. A great start for him. He moves his way past Stein Vatens. Now they're both teammates. They're both racing for SK Racing, so this is good for their championship. They're not even in the top 10 at the moment in the team's championship, but it's still a good start to them in their race. And that's Baz Meacham off at turn number 1. Let's see if we can find out what happened to him. He's stranded on the inside there. That is Gaz Williams on his left. Oh, he breaks a bit late, makes contact with Mark Kent, and it's just a slow drift sideways. And a little bit of contact from Papa Constantino to help things there. And he's still trying to get away, bless him, but we'll go back to the front of the field. Wessels was quick in practice, so this is so far so good for him. We've got cars off here. That's Mark Baker straggling a little bit outside of the chicane there. And he loses a couple of positions. Drivers just avoiding hitting each other at the moment. And the key here is not to brake too late. That's what we've seen so far. Oh, Stephen Bird into the wall there. Oh, we've gone to the wrong replay there because it's jumping around all over the place. Stephen Bird off into the wall. So this has been a terrible start to his race. That's Gaz Williams right in front of him. Oh, and it just loses itself. The car just steps sideways into the wall there, and that is going to be heavy damage to Stephen Bird. He's back to the pits, and that's race over for him. Our leader finishes off a lap here, and it was provisional fastest lap, but Ben McCluskey has gone even quicker, so maybe, you know, less aerodynamics might be helping him there. And you can see on the track there, ladies and gentlemen, there's actually puddles building up on the track. It's getting wetter and wetter. The rain is still falling, and that means it's only going to get less and less grippy. So it's going to get harder and harder as the race goes on, and they're constantly going to be changing their braking points. Biggest mover of the field, though, Jamie Dory is up 19, now 20 places as he passes Gene McLaughlin on the inside of turn number 3 and 4 there. He's up to 13th, 20 places gained. Fantastic start to the race for Jamie Dory. Kurt Van Honecker leading in the bronze category, but we've got Adam Wilson-Weir also doing well, 4th there, but that's Mike Riedner stuck on the inside of turn number 4 there. Let's see what happened to him. He was battling with Alan McCain there. I think the car just loses. Yeah, it does, and a little bit of help from McCain to go with it. But the car was already facing sideways by the time that happened. He gets away again, but it's going to be damage on the car for Mike Riedner. Oh, and a spin there. That's Mark Kent off on the inside of the hairpin. Oh, and right in front of the traffic there. Well avoided from Papa Constantino, and he reverses off the track, and all he can do now is just watch the cars pass by. Let's see if we can find out what happened to Mark Kent just then. Heading towards the hairpin. Oh, not even sure. He might have stamped on the brakes too hard, but that's a very strange incident. Just about avoided everyone there. Ben Altria, 3rd place here. Strong performance from him. He's a race winner this season. It was at Suzuka. So he's no slouch. And that Audi might be pretty good here in the wet. And I imagine it's good. Quite low down on the ground. But Kyle Oosthuizen just up ahead of him. Brilliant. 2nd place overall. And he's letting the other drivers by. Now that might be just him thinking, you know what, these guys are in their own race. They're in their own category. I'll let them go. I'm still going to get good points here no matter what. Oh, you can see the puddles building up on the sides of the track there. That's what causes aquaplaning and a big loss of grip for these drivers. You've got to avoid them if you can. So that's what drivers are going to be doing here. They're going to be weaving around the track a little bit to try and find the less wet parts of the track and stay away from the puddles. Oh, and we have, I think that's John Berry off on the side of the chicane there. Oh, just about getting away safely then. Let's see what happened to John Berry on the chicane there. He rejoins the track behind teammate Andy Rooney. Just slips sideways. Matthew Addy 3rd in silvers at the moment, so a good performance from him. And the Quatermass drivers letting through Andy Rooney as Sammy Ariba. This is a bit of a baptism of fire for him here. Really damp conditions in his debut to the series. Oh, we've got Mike Barber has had an incident. I can't quite find him in our standings here though, but this is Mike Barber. He was 18th, and he's had an incident. This is heading into the chicane, the final chicane. Bit late on the brakes. Oh, a bit of a nudge up the rear of Aaron Hobson, but they get away with it. They're still in contention as we see Mark Sykes and Martin Hobson side by side. Hobson getting very sideways, and him and his teammates in 16th and 17th here. But it is very, very tentative out there. Stefan Wessel still leads. 7-second lead from Ben McCluskey. He must love the wet weather, does Wessels, as he's commanding this race. McCluskey has now got himself into 2nd place. He has made his way past Ben Altria. And it's still fairly close between Kurt Van Honecker and Stein Vatens. Both of them in the SK racing cars. Both in the Porsches. So So I just wonder if the Porsche is pretty good in the wet. Seeming so at the moment. Oh, and Aaron Hobson has spun at the chicane here. He's behind his teammate. Bit late on the brakes. Whoa, has to stamp on the brakes. Gets away with it there, but the car just spins round, dipping it into the inside of the chicane there. Oh, and we've got Andy Rooney stuck on the inside here. So is Wesley Lewin. And Paul Walsh trying to creep his way through as well. And Andy Rooney leading the championship tonight heading into this race. This is not going to be a good start to defending that. But the key here also is drivers have got get themselves to the end. And they've got to get themselves into reverse grid contention for the next race. Oh, and Elwyn Sykes off the track. He was leading the championship heading into last week's round. And that is not a good start to his kickstart, I would say, to try and take that back. 9th place he's down to now in category, 31st overall. We'll go to the group standings here, as you can see. You can see he's well down the order in the bronze category, and that's points, but it also means he's going to start further up the grid in the next race. Sean Shute has had an incident. He's gotten away again. We haven't got a replay for that. And Ian Manners has also had an incident. We'll just check what that was. It looks like he's doing okay. But behind a huge gaggle of cars there. Mark Sykes is to the side there. Very late on the brakes. That seems to be what's costing a few drivers. He gets away with that. It's not so much an incident, actually. But... oh, is he slow heading out of the chicane here, though, is Ian Manners. Drops a few places. Nigel Stock gains a few. And what Nigel Stock was able to do last week is just keep his nose out of trouble and just get up more and more positions as the race, as the time goes by. And that's what he's doing here. 12 places overall he's gained. 8 in category in this race so far. Wessels leads at the front. Very identical times between him and McCluskey. Both set in low 45s at the moment. It's going to be a very difficult response from McCluskey to get this win. But it's still going to be good championship points for him. Silver category lead held by Kyle Oosthuizen at the moment. And Kurt Van Hoeniger not too far behind, heading the bronze category standings. Jamie Dory is here in 6th place in the gold category, but 9th in the overall standings. He's gained 24 places in this race. That's astonishing. I think he might be a bit of a wet weather specialist. Might Jamie Dory. Oh, there is a car off. I can hear there. Who is it, though? It might have been Steinveit, Kurt Van Hoeniger, actually. I think he had to stamp on his brakes a little bit there to avoid going into the kitty litter. But he carries on. He's still 5th position. Fine margins for these drivers. It's great to watch. So Mike Barber has also had a brilliant charge through the field. He started towards the back, and he's up 22 places to 14th. Brilliant, brilliant driving for him and Jamie Dory tonight. And I just, like I said earlier, I just wonder if the bigger cars are going to be better in conditions like these. I wonder if that's the case with the Mustang. I'd definitely try that car out in the wet if I was to enter a race like this. Oh, and the car getting squirrely under braking, heading into the corner there. Oh, a big battle here between Kevin Smith and Rob Savage. Oh, and we had a car off on the side as well there, just to make things worse as well. That was Matt Gatter, but Kevin Smith makes it through. And there's a couple of Quetemas cars off here. Sammy Ariba and Andy Rooney here at the front, but we've also got John Berry in the background. He had a spin, but Andy Rooney's gotten away, and he's back into 5th place in category, which is a better result than what he was looking like just a few laps ago. Andy Chell's had an incident as well. New to the Mustang today, and it's not gone well on his debut with that car. Elwyn Sykes we're looking at here, but Paul Walsh making a move for overall position past Sami Ariba. He's got a tiptoe on the apex here, and actually in the wet, going around the outside is normally the better line to have. Where all the rubber is, kicked off from the dry runnings, is normally the better place to be. It is in real life anyway, but here there's probably not much rubber out there, and well, the outside line is a less acute line as well, which means you can carry a little bit more speed in the wet as well. Martin Hobson off the track here, nothing major, but it does mean he drops a position to Alan McCain, who's another big mover in the field. 21 places gained in this race to 16th position right now, and there might be more positions to come. As in front of him, that's Mark Sykes getting very squirrely under braking. Indirect teammate of Alan McCain's. Go back towards the front, and Stefan Wessels has lost a bit of time to Ben McCluskey. He's lapping quicker, even though he's missing a front bumper. He is lapping so much quicker than Wessels. He was 3/4 of a second quicker on the last lap, but it might not be enough to catch before the end of the race. We'll see, we'll find out. And there's a lot of drivers who are vacating to the pits. There's only 30 drivers who are actually running on the track on the lead lap at the moment. Andy Chell has just been lapped, and he's the first of the lapped runners. Oh, we got a car off on the inside there. That's Sami Ariba on his debut, stuck on the inside there, and a car recovering there. I think that's Jonathan Berry. It is. So Quatermass, well, there's so many Quatermass drivers in the field. Actually, some of them are doing okay tonight. Ben Bennyworth's on for his best result of the season so far. 6th overall and 4th in category. And he's right behind Kurt Van Honecker, which could make it a 5th overall. It won't improve Ben Bennyworth's points, but it's still a good position in the race nonetheless. Paul Walsh makes his way past Andy Rooney. Oh, he's side by side with Andy Rooney, actually, as we head down to the chicane. One of them's got to give in, and I think Andy Rooney has tucked in behind. He has. And Paul Walsh, 8th place in category now. So let's just go back to the grouped category standings on the left of our screen there, because that's what the points are based off, remember? So it's a key thing to look at. Papa Constantino on his return to the series. A good haul of points for him potentially in this race, and still a feature race to go. Now remember, in the feature race it's reverse grid, so the drivers who've done well in this race have got to get through the pack in the next race. So it could all change. It could be a completely different picture in the feature race, as Paul Walsh is facing the wrong way, heading out of turn number 7 here. This is the Terlemenbocht. And the car just gives way. And that's the thing. It's a bit of an iRacing curse, actually, is once the car starts getting sideways, it's almost unrecoverable. 3 minutes to go in this race, which will be about 2 laps to go for Stefan Wessels. Very good drive from him. He's got a little bit of damage on the front bumper, I've just noticed there. So he might have been involved in a little bit of contact at the start of the race there. Now we will go back to the start of this race just to see exactly what happened to McCluskey and Stephen Bird, because Stephen Bird's still running in this race, but he's 32nd and he's a lap down, maybe more. No, he's a lap down. So yeah, it's been a tricky start to the night for Stephen Bird, off the back of a strong pole position and a strong win. But a debut tonight that's worth noting, and there's a couple of incidents going off around us there. Martin Hobson there off the track, and he'll lose a bit of ground there. Nigel Stock has lost a position as well. He's down to 6th now. He had a spin heading into the chicane just then. Here it is. Now we'll have to go over the hill and down the hill, which is a chapter from The Hobbit, I believe. But oh, he just goes sideways going through the butte there, and he can't recover it. He does hit the wall as well, so that's going to be heavy damage to the radiator of Nigel Stock's car. Will he be able to carry it on? Remains to be seen. But we were just going to mention It's been a very strong debut for Ryan Blackwell here. 3rd place in category, in the silver category. Very, very impressive debut. So far, anyway. Still got some way to go to get to the end. Waving flag for Quatermass. Starting his final lap soon will be Stefan Wessels. And the time has been coming down between him and Ben McCluskey. McCluskey is setting the outright best laps out on the track. You could say Ben got a little bit lucky with the first lap incident, that it didn't ruin his race even more. He got away with that one a little bit. But he's responded with some great pace here. He's down to less than 3 seconds behind Stefan Wessels now. Unless Wessels makes a mistake, McCluskey will still probably finish second as we start the final lap here at Zolder for our sprint race. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, there's another race coming up later on. It is the feature race, which will be a 1 hour race, and we will see pit stops, just to throw something else into the mix. But a good qualifying followed with a good race for Stefan Wessels. Yeah, I believe he hasn't won a race yet this season. I'm just going to check the notebook. My cheaty notebook of many things. Nope, we've had no win yet this season from Stefan Wessels. So, yeah, he was a late entry to the season. I remember now. And, yeah, he's only raced a few rounds, but has done pretty well. His first round was Catalonia. So this is his only 4th race back in the series. He was one of the prototype drivers last season. As we take a look at the battle between Matthew Addy, Mike Barber and Alan McCain. McCain, a daring move to the inside of turn number 4 there to get past Matthew Addy. And is charging after Mike Barber. These two have pretty much followed each other from the start of the race, starting from the back, and have made their way towards the top 10, but not quite in the top 10 just yet. A position swap in bronze. Papa Constantino has passed Kurt Van Honecker for 2nd place in bronze category. Might he hang on to that to the end? We'll find out in a few seconds, as we must greet our victor of the gold category for the first time this season. Stefan Wessels will take a win, and it will be here at the very wet Zolder circuit for round 7 of this championship. Ben McCluskey will take 2nd place, and Ben Alcher will come through for another podium for himself, 3rd place for the full tilt driver. Kyle Oosthuizen, another win in silver category, and this one of the largest overall positions he's had. 4th place for him and 1st place in category. A brilliant performance for him in this race. And Stein Vatens will take a debut win in the bronze category. He thought he was going to get the win last time out at the Nordschleife, but he'll get it this time here at Zolder in the sprint race. 2nd place will go to Gabriel Papaconstantino, taking it in the chicane on that final lap past Kurt Van Honecker. Matthew Addy will come through in 2nd place here in silver category, and a strong debut, it seems, here for Ryan Blackwell. He just has to get through this final corner ahead of Ian Manners, and he'll take silverware in his 1st race of the season. 3rd place for Ryan Blackwell. Wow, what a race that was. I really enjoyed that. Bernie Ecclestone's sprinkler system isn't so bad, eh? But, yeah, having rain on iRacing is just revolutionary. I absolutely love it. I must confess, my first time driving the wet weather on iRacing didn't go so well, but I just love driving it anyway. But I wonder how the drivers are feeling about that. We'll find out in interviews later on. But, yeah, we've got another race to go through shortly, ladies and gentlemen. The feature race, 1 hour, starting in around about 20 minutes from now, I would say. Now's, well, I wouldn't say now's a good time to grab a cup of tea. It'll be during the interval, because we are going to take a look at the results of this race, of course, and then we'll go back and look at the start of this race. We'll see what happened between McCluskey and Stephen Bird to start this race. Still drivers finishing this race at the moment. That's why we can't give you the results just yet. But a couple of standout performances so far tonight in this sprint race. Jamie Dory gaining 27 places to finish 6th place. And 5th in category, Mike Barber and Alan McCain gained 24 places. Ryan Blackwell here on his debut, finishing 3rd in category. A 4th overall for Kyle Oosthuizen. Yeah, some standout performances already. And Verano just telling me there that was a lot wetter than they thought it was going to get. That's yeah, that's the thing. It's a little bit unpredictable, but I suppose we didn't see it really. We could have done with an onboarder in that race, but what the drivers were seeing is something we probably should pick up in the feature race next. But we are going to skip on to our results of this race. We'll start with the gold category. Stefan Wessels takes the win. With the closing gap between him and Ben McCluskey, which might set a precedent for the next race, but we'll see how they get on. But it's a win for him nonetheless, and a debut win of the season. He takes the the maximum points in a sprint race, which is 18 points. Ben McCluskey 2nd place, and that is still a strong positioning for him in the championship. We'll have a look at the incident for him at the start of the race, but it's 2nd place for him for the time being. 3rd place, Ben Altria. Another podium for him. And Ben Bennyworth, his strongest result of the season so far, 4th for him. Jamie Dory, our biggest mover in the field, 27 places gained for 5th place. Gaz Williams takes 6th position from Mike Barber and Alan McCain, who both of them had strong charges through the field to finish 7th and 8th. Gene McLaughlin in 9th, and rounding off the top 10 is Sean Shute. Martin Hobson finishes 11th, and a lap down is Stephen Bird, but I think he's still eligible for reverse grid. Silver category, and Kyle Oosthuizen takes the win, finishing 4th overall as well, but a big 26-second gap to Matthew Addy in 2nd place. A very strong result for him. I believe that's another podium for him this season. Ryan Blackwell on his debut, 3rd position for him, a very strong debut. Let's see if he can carry that through into the feature race. Ian Manners, a good result for him, 4th position, followed by Paul Williams in 5th. Nigel Stock, he did have drama towards the end of that race, but he recovers to 6th place from not such good qualifying. 6th place for him, with Paul Walsh a couple of spins in that race, but recovers to 7th in the end. Kevin Smith, 8th position, followed by the drivers who are a lap or more down. They are Mark Sykes, Mark Baker, Wesley Lewin, Mike Reedner, Aaron Hobson, Baz Meacham, and Mark Kent. Bronze category now, and it is Stein Vatens who takes a debut win this season. And he's followed by 2 seconds, Gabriel Papaconstantino, who was charging on that final lap, taking 2nd place from Kurt Van Honecker on the final lap there. But rounding off the podium is Kurt Van Honecker himself, making it an SK Racing double podium. Adam Wilson-Weir, a good result, 4th place for him, which makes the championship a little bit closer even still, as him, Elwyn Sykes and Andy Rooney line astern 4th, 5th and 6th, which means the championship's going to be even closer between them 3 at this point. Sammy Ariba on his debut takes 7th position, with Robert Savage in 8th, Matt Gatter in 9th, Jonathan Berry 10th, and a lap down, Andy Chell and Craig Tillotson. So there we go, that was the results of the sprint race. Now let's go back to the beginning of the race. Let's have a look at that opening lap. We've just got to find where it is. There we go. Right, so let's get straight with Ben McCluskey. There we go. Contact between him and Stephen Bird. Stephen Bird's at the front in the black, silver and red car, and Ben McCluskey's in the turquoise, purple and black car just behind. So into turn 1 goes Stephen Bird there. We're just going to quarter time this. They go very wide here, and that's what kind of clusters things up a little bit. McCluskey goes to the inside. Oh, and there's contact from Wessels, and that turns McCluskey into Stephen Bird. That's what done it. I think this would be a better angle to watch this from, but we'll take another look at this. If I can find it. I might have to go from the green flag again. But that just looked like the 3 just came together, heading out of the corner. keep an eye on Stefan Wessels here in the orange car on our left. We're on the better angle here, so it will turn to it. And they just understeer off of turn 1 here, keeping it away from the gravel. It wasn't the best angle, actually. It's very hard to tell from our limited angles here who turned into who and all of that. It'd be one for the stewards. But, yeah, turns out that it was Wessels and McCluskey involved in that incident as well. So very interesting indeed. But we're not stewards. And our limited camera angles here, there's only so much we can do. So we'll move on from this, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get ourselves ready for the feature race coming up very, very shortly. As I mentioned, it's a 60-minute sprint race. And it will start in around about 15 minutes' time. So we'll see you then. Thank you for watching so far. We'll see you very shortly.
Hello and welcome to NXTGEN Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all. Hello and welcome to NXTGEN Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to NXTGEN Racing live on Facebook, live on YouTube and live on Kick. And in a shocking turn of events, the rain gods have gone away and they've given us nice, dry, crisp weather. In the 15 minutes while we were away, the rain stopped and the track dried up, which means we have got a bone dry track, as you guessed it, for the feature race coming up very shortly. It is completely unexpected change of weather, completely against the force of nature, but we've got it, and the drivers now have to prepare their dry setups, their dry lines for this track here in just the 10-minute session that they've got here. But yeah, here we go. It's a dry track, and it's going to be interesting to see if it holds off for the whole race. That's one thing I'll say. But let's get the housekeeping over and done with before we get started here. It is the NXTGEN Racing GT3 Season 6 Thursday night racing here at NXTGEN Racing. Our sponsors, partners and affiliates for the championship are PowerMax Racing, Sam Cases, Benji Sim Photos, Douglas Motorsport, Motorsport UK Esports Division, Falcon and PC, Mark Sykes Designs, Joyce Design, Moser Racing and Only Racing. Well, the prize givers for this championship, the winner will receive £500 store credits to use for Online Racing's online store. We started off all that time ago. On the 26th of September was round 1, and it was at Fuji in Japan, and then it was Road America for round 2 of the championship. Round 3 was the first of 3 endurance rounds of the championship hosted at Monza, and the second trip to Japan was round 4 of the championship at Suzuka. Catalonia in Spain hosted round 5 of the championship, and then only last week was the second of 3 endurance rounds of the championship, and it was at the Nordschleife. Zolder hosts this week, but next week, we'll be in Brazil at the Interlagos circuit, where infamously hosted one of the best Formula 1 races I've ever seen, only very recently. And we'll be hosting there, and hopefully we'll get an equally good race. Round 8 of the championship in Brazil at Interlagos, and then round 9 in 2 weeks from today, we'll be back at the Nürburgring, but just the Grand Prix circuit for the penultimate round of the season, and the final round where it will be sprint and feature race format. But the final round of the championship will be the third of 3 endurance rounds of the championship, and it will be hosted at the Daytona Road Course. As we see out the season, head towards Christmas, the track that hosts the 24 Hours of Daytona and the Daytona 500 will host the final round of this championship. So we'll be getting underway very, very shortly, ladies and gentlemen. And our dry track, so the drivers have got very little time to practice. And pretty much 3/4 of the field are out on the track at the moment. Oh, it's still a bit slippery for some drivers. But we got drivers doing their laps, getting a little bit of practice in before we get started tonight. And I must say I rather enjoyed the wet weather, but it's very easy for me to say that from the comms booth here. Drivers were the ones that were probably not enjoying it as much. It's particularly difficult on a track like this, driving in the wet. But realistic weather, that's what's on the agenda for this season. That's what we got. And that's what we're getting. Dry track now in Zolder. And we'll see how this bunches up the field, because we've got another Quatermass driver getting a bit squirrely out of the final corner there, but we'll see how this mixes things up, because we have got drivers all over the field in their category, shall we say, anyway. And yeah, a lot of people coming through on the reverse grids, a lot of people starting at the front of the grid is going to be a bit of an advantage for them. We'll see how we get on. In practice already at the moment, Kyle Oosthuizen really throwing down the gauntlet. Fastest outright time in practice at the moment, 1:28.9. He is faster than all the gold drivers. So he really means business tonight, does Kyle Oosthuizen. And practice is over. We'll give you the grid for the start of this race. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, it is the reverse grid of the sprint races, and my mouse has decided to disconnect, so I'm just going to reconnect it before we do the grid. But we've got to do the grid very quickly here. There we go. Here's the grid for our feature race tonight. And starting at the front of the grid. Come on, mouse, get working. Starting at the front of the grid is going to be Stephen Bird, as he had a near retirement in the first race, but he managed to finish the race and get himself pole position again to try it again in this feature race. Martin Hobson, his teammate, will start alongside him. Sean Shute will line up third with Gene McClawn in fourth position. Alan McCain will start fifth position with Mike Barber of Verana Motorsport in sixth position. Gaz Williams seventh with teammate NXTGEN teammate Jamie Dory alongside in eighth. Ben Bennyworth, his best result of the season in the sprint race, starts ninth in this race. Ben Altria is 10th with Ben McCluskey in 11th, and Stefan Wessels, the winner of the sprint race, will start 12th. Silver category now, and it's Mark Baker in 13th with Mark Sykes in 14th, Kevin Smith in 15th with Paul Walsh in 16th. Sammy Ariba will start 17th with Nigel Stock in 18th. Paul Williams 19th from Ian Manners in 20th. Ryan Blackwell on his debut getting a podium will start 21st. Matthew Addy, second in the sprint race, will start 22nd here. Kyle Oosthuizen, the winner of the sprint race, will start 23rd. Aaron Hobson, Baz Meacham and Wesley Loon will start at the back of the silver category, as they did not complete the amount of laps needed to be eligible for reverse grid. Craig Tillotson will start 27th with Andy Chell in 28th. Jonathan Berry 29th from Matt Gackner in 30th. 31st will start Rob Savage from Andy Rooney in 32nd. Elwyn Sykes 33rd from Adam Wilson-Weir. Kurt Van Honecker will start 35th with Gabriel Papaconstantino in 36th. And back of the grid, back of the bronze category grid, is Stein Vatens, the winner of the sprint race. So we are about to get underway, ladies and gentlemen, straight away for this feature race. And each category will start 3 seconds apart from one another. So the golds will start first, then the silvers, then the bronze group. So we're about to get underway here. Stephen Bird will lead us towards the line, must maintain safety car speed, and when the lights go green, he can floor it. Off we go. Stephen Bird leads us away, and the start of the feature race starts now. 1 hour race begins, and we've got the silvers also starting in the background here, but let's just watch the golds go through the first corner here. Let's hope it gets through safe and sound. There's a little bit... Oh, there is contact. There's already contact. And there's Hobson. Contact with Sean Shute. He's off the track, and a rear part of the car already missing. Here come the silvers, though. Leading the way is Mark Baker at the front from Kevin Smith. Meanwhile, in the bronze category, Andy Chow will lead us through turn number 1. Good start for him from Jonathan Berry there. So we'll just see what happened to Sean Shute there. If we can find the replay. I don't think we got a replay, actually, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen. We don't, so we'll get back to the action. Gold category, away they go, and it's a great start from Stephen Bird. We know he's got the pace, so it's just a matter of converting it now as he heads away at the front here, already building a big lead, and his teammate helping him out back here. He's going to be holding up the rest of the field potentially to help out his teammate and help his teammate out in the championship subsequently. Championship leader Ben McCluskey up 2 places already. He's in 9th. Kevin Smith takes the lead in the silver category. He's got his way past whoever was leading at the start. It was Mark Baker, and he's dropped a few places. This is a replay of Mark Baker. He's gone off the track, it seems. And this might have been too late to breaking into the chicane. No, not quite. The rear of the car gets loose, and round it goes. Very cold tyres, that is. And that loses him a lot of time. But that puts Kevin Smith to the front of the silver pack, that is. And we saw Kevin Smith lead a lot of the Nordschleife race last time out. So we'll see how tonight converts. Andy Chell. Now, I believe he's leading bronze, but we have got a mix-up in the category. Sam Ariba might well be in the silvers, so I'll see if I can do this on the fly. But, I was made aware that he was a bronze driver, but hey-ho, things could change. Here we we go. So it will mean that Andy Chell is leading bronze category. Oh, side by side between Sammy and Matthew Addy here as they head up the hill, over the hill. Side by side, heading into the corner. And through goes Matthew Addy. Good start to this race, actually, from Matthew Addy. 5 places gained. Now, Nigel Stock has... Oh, he's crabbing a bit on the inside there. Something's happened to Nigel Stock. This is him earlier on in the lap. In fact, this is him heading into the final chicane. Oh, the car slips sideways. Oh, and he touches the wall. That's not good for him. And there's another incident for Nigel Stock as well. He's behind 2 Quatermass cars. Tries to make his way around the outside of one. Over the curb, and that's just going to bog him down, and it creates contact. Sends him round again, so it's not a good start to this race for Nigel Stock. Tatters for the championship, potentially. We'll find out later on if the points get updated on the fly. But towards the front, Stephen Bird, strong lead as Mike Barber has got himself into 2nd position. And this is how he did it. Side by side for quite a way, actually. And this is around turns 4 and 5 and heading towards the chicane. Oh, close between them two. But I reckon this is going to be outbraking from Barber on Hobson through the chicane. Oh, close between them. Contact between the two. Hobson ends up on the grass. And muscling his way through is Mike Barber there. Takes the lead. Albeit a little bit of contact. Jamie Dury with a stunning performance in the sprint race. Up to 5th place again. And he's right behind Gene McClawn. And he's looking to get himself up towards the podium in this race, it seems. Ben McCluskey is the one to keep an eye on, as he's got to charge down Stephen Bird to get points on him to help his championship further. Still close in the silver category. Kevin Smith in 1st. And then there's Mark Sykes behind. We got up the front here. Ben Altria conceding a position potentially to Ben McCluskey. And it got a bit close on the exit of turn number 1. Heading in quite shallow on the apex of turn 1 is not easy. So we've got Ben Bennyworth on his inside now. Heading around turns number 2 and 3. Bennyworth challenging on the inside. It's the better line. But I think he's tucked back in behind. Ben Altria stays in front. Kyle Oosthuizen's already up to 5th place in category in the silvers. He's passed Matthew Addy and is heading up potentially towards Paul Williams next. Bronze category, John Berry's in front of Andy Chell. And that's Mark Baker in the silver category, mixing it in with these, trying to get himself back on pace, back on song. But the main drivers to keep an eye on in this race is definitely Elwyn Sykes, Gabriel Papaconstantino, Adam Wilson-Weir and Andy Rooney, as they're the ones battling in the championship, and it's Sykes leading the way of them at the moment. Chell might be about to concede a position to Kurt Van Honecker here. Kurt Van Honecker just missed out on 2nd place in the sprint race, and he might be gaining himself to 2nd place here. He doesn't. Andy Chell hangs on to it, but I have a feeling this battle is not over yet. Sykes is lurking around this battle as well, and looking just outside of the corner there to the right hand side of Andy Chell. Into the hairpin we go. Sykes was trying the inside of Van Honecker there, doesn't get it. All the while Papaconstantino's just watching this ahead of him, watching it unfold. Meanwhile, oh no, a spin from, whoa dear, Kevin Smith pulling out in front of the traffic. And that causes huge contact from... That is Kyle Oosthuizen that made contact with him, actually. Let's just get another snap of that. Let's just see what happened to Kevin Smith. So this is heading into turn number 1. Smith was leading this. I think that was Ben Bennyworth just in front. And the car just slips sideways, just gives way on him. And he tries to spin it back around to get it back out on the track. But contact from Kyle Oosthuizen on him. Now let's see if there's any damage on the car of Kyle Oosthuizen. He's dropping positions. That's Hobson moving past him. And Matthew Addy. I think he's got damage on the car and he's going to have to take a fast repair. Oh, and Matthew Addy makes a spin there into the chicane. It looked like there wasn't contact then. It looked like it was a spin on his own. But it just shows how delicate these cars are, even in the dry. Yeah, broke rail too late and actually made contact with Hobson just ahead. And that puts Addy maybe out of contention here. But Jonathan Berry has got 2 silver cars between him and Andy Chell, which means he can streak away here in the bronze lead. Kyle Oosthuizen's in the pits. There he is. He's going to have to take a fast repair. Now, his closest championship rival, Nigel Stock, is well down the order. So it's not imminent danger in the championship for Oosthuizen, but it does mean that, well, he's not going to extend his championship as much as he would like to. This might advantage Ian Manners, as he's 4th in the championship heading into tonight. And we got Martin Hobson off in the gold category here at the chicane. And this is what happened. He's got Mike Barber just in front of him, I believe. Oh, on the curb, hitting it too hard. He just spits him out onto the other. Goes airborne and onto the gravel. In the gold category here, we've got Mike Barber heading the way from Gene McClawn, who's got Jamie Dory for company behind him. McCluskey following his teammate Gaz Williams here. Them two probably going to work together not only to benefit the team's championship, but Ben McCluskey is in the strongest position for the championship. These two were pretty much head-to-head for the first half of the season, but I think it's going less in the way of that at this point in the championship. It'll be papaya rules if you ever heard of that. Ben McCluskey might be the driver that is prioritised in this battle, but they'll probably work together to try and catch their way up with the drivers up front. Alan McCain, also in the same team. He's just up the road here. 5th place for him. So far, touch wood, good night for Alan McCain. Baz Meacham and Ryan Blackwell side by side, but it's Meacham who gets the better of that battle heading into turn number 2. Blackwell, the brilliant debut, 3rd place in the sprint race, and we'll see how he gets on for the remainder of this race. But may well challenge for another podium tonight. Who knows? Paul Walsh, good race for him so far. Touch wood yet again. He is in 2nd place here behind Mark Sykes, both Next Gen Racing teammates. So it's good points for them. And a strong performance for Next Gen thus far in the silver category. Let's check back in on this battle. Papa Constantino has made himself up a few places, but past Adam Wilson-Weir. He's behind Kurt Van Honecker. So of the championship protagonists, it's safe to say that Papa Constantino is in the better position. And Elwyn Sykes is in the pits. Something's happened to him. Let me see if he's had an incident. Yeah, he has. Elwyn Sykes. This is what's happened to him. Now he's nowhere around the cars that we were just mentioning. Oh, brakes really late and is heading into the pits here. I just wonder if there's damage already on the car. Yeah, nothing coming up on the timing screen. So, yeah, it looks like a dampened race for Elwyn Sykes already, as Papa Constantino is challenging to get onto the podium now. Looking always to try and get past Van Honecker here, who in turn is also trying to get past Andy Chell as well. We've got Adam Wilson-Weir lurking behind as well. Papa Constantino couldn't quite make the move work there, but taking advantage of that is Adam Wilson-Weir on the outside here at turn number 2. Papa Constantino lost a little bit of momentum there going through turn number 2, and he's dropped off a little bit from the pack in front. He's going to have to work to get it back. Andy Rooney has not had a good race so far, as we see Rob Savage and Matt Gatter side by side heading through the chicane there, and Gatter bouncing his way across the curves. They're still side by side as they head out of the chicane. This is the battle for 8th in category, and they've also got Nigel Stock behind them looking to get past as well and get his race back on track. And through goes Savage, but here's Nigel Stock. He's trying to get his race back on track, as we mentioned. And Stein Vaten's the race 1 winner. Not much progress so far. Only 10th at the moment in category. Stefan Wessels has made his way past Ben McCluskey. This is how he did it. That's Ben McCluskey just up ahead, of course. I wonder if something happened in the chicane. Oh, McCluskey very late on the brakes. Had to avoid Gaz Williams. Does avoid Gaz Williams, his teammate, but relinquishes a position to Wessels. A very rare mistake there from Ben McCluskey. But he drops behind Wessels. Oh, we've had an instant. No, it is. And that's all 3 of them involved in it. Papa Constantino, Van Honecker, and Wilson-Weir. Oh, contact between Van Honecker and Chell there. So as we head into turn number 2, Wilson-Weir's on the inside, and that sends him round. Oh, we'll get another look at that. We'll just slow it down when we get to it. So up the inside goes Wilson-Weir. Oh, it's a hard one to tell, actually. Very hard one to tell, but it drops them down a lot of time. It puts Andy Chell more in the clear, but they're still going to carry on battling of these 3. They're still there, but joining the party here, switching cars for tonight for Verana Motorsport into the Porsche, Craig Tillotson is up to 5th now and has a chance to mix it in this battle. It does put John Berry more in the clear now. And Andy Chell back here. He's also got a little bit of clean space between him and other cars behind him. So these 2 can focus on trying to get themselves good results here tonight. Neither have had a win in the series. At least in the last 2 seasons, they haven't either. And Jonathan Berry has had a few podiums this season. Andy Chell has not actually had a podium yet this season. So far, so good for him. Ben McCluskey's back past Stefan Wessels. And this is how he did it. Wessels bounces across the curb, bogs him down a little bit, and that allows McCluskey past. And also, Gaz Williams making his way past another CSA car. Likewise with McCluskey, I think that might have been Sean Shute they were passing. I'm not too sure. Nigel Stock's back here in 11th. He was 2nd in championship heading into tonight. But the leader of the championship heading into tonight, Kyle Oosthuizen, is a further 10 seconds behind. So, not good points for either of them drivers tonight. As it stands, anyway. So, 11th and 12th only scores you 8 and 6 points. But it's the first race of the night that's going to do the most damage to Nigel Stock's championship tonight. But it's not going to drop him a huge amount. But both could do, for the sake of their championships, gain more places as the race goes by. And just to respond to Katie on the chat here on Facebook and YouTube, we are not expecting more rain tonight. It's very cloudy up above, but the chances of rain are nil, pretty much. As you can see at the bottom there, which is a bit of a shame. I really enjoyed it. So a strong lead in this race for Stephen Bird at the moment. 3.7 seconds clear. That's Mike Barber in the Mustang just behind there. And the battle for 3rd has stretched out a little bit. G. McLaurin's in the clear. And Jamie Dory has dropped off a little bit. But he's got teammates right behind him who will be very keen for the sake of their team's championships or even their drivers' championships to get past Jamie Dory. Got Alan McCain here representing the NXTGEN Racing and Benji Simfoto's team. Likewise with Gaz Williams and Benji McCluskey, who are right behind. We've seen this from McCluskey many times this season. He takes his time getting through the field. He doesn't like to do it quickly. I'm one of those drivers that when I'm starting at the back of a reverse grid, I like to get through as quick as I can. But Ben McCluskey takes his time, and it has worked this season. It really has. It hasn't won him as many feature races as probably he would like, but it's still getting him through safe and sound, and is getting him big points in the championship, which is why he's leading. The Andy Prio approach. Mark Sykes, Next Gen representants, holding a first place here, so pretty good from him, and he's actually stretching his lead from Paul Walsh at the moment. He'll take that. He'll definitely take that. Baz Meacham in third place here. He's a former winner in this series, in this season anyway. Third place for him, 14th overall. Now, 10 places gained in category, so a really good start to this race for the Fuzzy Racing driver. Got Manners and Ryan Blackwell still very close together, battling for 5th place in category. Charging down towards the hairpin. Blackwell's had a good debut so far. Kept it nice and clean so far, as I said. I'm not trying to jinx anyone. But yeah, 3rd place and currently holding a 5th place. Very good debut. So when we're expecting to see pit stops, it'll be in around about 10 to 15 minutes. As we're seeing, getting a bit closer to Sammy Ariba just ahead is John Berry. Commanding lead in this race at the moment. Still close between Kurt Van Hoenicker and Gabriel Papaconstantino though, but they have got Wilson-Weir, who's dropped back a little bit just behind there. Making this a bit of a 2-horse battle. That is for now anyway. And they are getting closer to Andy Chell in 2nd place, and fastest lap of the race actually from Adam Wilson-Weir, so he's dropped off a little bit, but he's responded with a good lap here, and that's bonus points for him. He got the bonus points at Nordschleife last time as well, so yeah, it's very potential driving from Adam Wilson-Weir in these races. Vastly improved as the season's gone on as well. He started the season, he was hovering around the 8th place region, I think. As we see, actually, Stefan Wessels is in the pits. Now, is this a scheduled stop? I think it is. It says he crashed, but I don't think he did. I think he just... When people come in the pits, it thinks they've crashed, which they haven't. Yep, he's gone into the pits. It looks like he's gone rapidly into the corner, but he hasn't. The pit lane entry is straight on, and this is his first scheduled stop. He'll take tyres, he'll take a full load of fuel, or a near full load of fuel, and head out on the track. And I think maybe what he's hoping for is a clean track around him so he can get some good laps in. That would be my wager. Matthew Addy is also in the pits. So I think drivers are starting to gamble now. Trying to get better track position with fresh tyres. Andy Rooney also in the pits. And Andy Rooney not having the night he probably would have wanted, having taken the lead in the championship following the Nordschleife last time and winning the race. So we'll see if this early pit stop can help things out for himself. Finishing another lap. Stephen Bird at the front. 2.5 second lead from Mike Barber. Now, Stephen Bird won the endurance race last time out at the Nordschleife. He was pole position for the sprint race, but an instant on lap 1 put him very much out of contention for this race, the race. But helps him out with a reverse grid in this one. It means he can kind of do what he was meant to do in the sprint race, he will feel. So far, so good, but he's being kept honest from Mike Barber. Just behind in the Verana Motorsport Mustang here. And the time comparison between the two, it was about 0.2 between them on the last lap. Mike Barber being the quicker of the two. And we have seen a move from Papaconstantino. Well, we haven't seen it. We're going to get a replay of it. But Papaconstantino makes his move on Kurt Van Hoenicker, going into the final chicane. It looked like a good exit from Papaconstantino, the Cypriot driver. And on the Dutch driver, he'll make the move going into the chicane. Through he goes. Classic move for 3rd place there. And he's trying on Sami Ariba here, who is not in the same category as we established earlier in this race. Through he goes. So this is a top 3 placing now for Gabriel Papaconstantino. He's going to charge his way towards Andy Chell, who we can see in the Mustang just up the road here. But it's a further 5-second gap to John Berry at the front. So watch this space. The bronze category looking... Oh no, hang on a minute. John Berry spun here. Oh, and he's reversed it into the wall, which isn't going to help. And the drivers are going to pass by. That's it. Andy Chell's going to take the lead. And Jonathan Berry will just have to watch the drivers pass by as he rejoins the track in 5th placing category. Wow, just when we were talking about a 5-second gap being hard to track down, it's gone away in the blink of an eye. So now Andy Chell leads this race in the bronze category. But he is really under pressure from Gabriel Papaconstantino now as he's closing in. He's near within a second. In fact, he's now within a second as we just go through the final corner. Papaconstantino, who missed last time out at Nordschleife, 4th in the championship, lost a few positions as a result, will be very eager to get a good result tonight and get that championship lead back in his hands. Jonathan Berry doesn't come into the pits following that incident. He reversed into the wall as well. I just wonder if there's a little bit of damage on the car to go with it. But this really puts things up in the air for Quatermass. A couple of drivers in the pits. Rob Savage, Craig Tillotson as well. So a couple of drivers making their calls now. Getting closer between Paul Walsh and Baz Meacham here. Ben Bennyworth's in the pits as well. Also Paul Walsh in the pits. So a lot of drivers choosing to pit now. It's not a track where you really need to fuel save. It's not really a format where you need to save fuel either. So burning as much fuel as you can. Well, actually, saving fuel is actually rather beneficial. It means you're less time in the box, so it does have its benefits. Jonathan Berry said he's had another incident. Unless it's breaking into here. Oh, it just goes a bit wide there. Maybe pushing too hard to try and recover his race a little bit there. But he comes into pits. A lot of drivers in the pits now. Van Honecker and Adam Wilson-Weir are also in the pits. But carrying on is Papaconstantino and Andy Chell. And a move's already happened between them while we were looking at a replay. So into the lead goes Papaconstantino. I'm just trying to find where that incident is. Oh, that move is. There's already a big gap between them. And I think this is where the scheduled pit stops are coming in. This is the move. Here we go, it's heading round. Now, Andy Chell did go off the track, so... you can just see he's... sorry, I'm flicking between the replay. He messed up the chicane there by the looks of it. And that's going to relinquish the move to Papaconstantino, who has a better line going into the chicane. Or maybe not. But outbraking himself, that's the off track. And Chell goes off the track. He'll get a slowdown. Through goes Papaconstantino to take the lead in the bronze category. But we'll switch back because I believe we're going to have pit stops now. Papaconstantino stays out, and actually a lot of the gold field is staying out as well. But there's a couple of silver drivers in the pits. Manners, Blackwell and Hobson are in the pits. See what Stephen Bird does here. 2.1 seconds between him and Mike Barber now, so it is coming down between them, but the last lap they set identical times, so it is close, and Mike Barber's just going to have to plug away one lap at a time to try and catch up with Stephen Bird. Jamie Dory in the pits. So this is crunch time for the pit stops. And the thing is, the drivers do have access to weather monitors on their iRacing HUD, so I just wonder if some of them are trying to hang on. much as they can, just in case some weather's inbound. I don't know. It's still 0% chance, so probably not. I'm probably just wishful thinking there. Bring back rain for Interlagos. We saw how good it was in Formula 1. Why can't it be good for us? Open up a gap a little bit. A couple of tenths on this lap from Stephen Bird as he's right behind Paul Walsh, who's fresh out of the pits. And let's see if this is the lap where Stephen Bird heads into the pits. I think when Stephen Bird comes into the pits, others will respond at the same time. Yep, here we go. Oh, it looks so, it looks so close and terrifying when they head into the pits there. But they know what they're doing. So Stephen Bird's in the pits. Mike Barber, Gene McClawn, Ben McCluskey, Alan McCain, Gaz Williams. They're all in the pits. So this is crunch time for the pit stops. The driver to look out for is Stefan Wessels. He's behind Jamie Dory still. Oh, as he messes up the chicane a little bit there. But Jamie Dory is the highest up of those that have pitted. Stephen Bird heading to his box. Mark Sykes and Baz Meacham also in the pitch. In the pits. They're not having a game of football, they're in the pits. So yeah, a good race so far from Mark Sykes. He'll want a good, clean pit stop here. Minimal amount of time in the boxes he can get to stay in front of Baz Meacham. He's also having a race with Paul Walsh. So Stephen Bird's back out on the track. Jamie Dory is here. That's heading into turn number 1. Oh, close between the Quatermass driver and Stephen Bird there. But back out on the track, Jamie Dory has made the jump. He's up to 3rd place now, so he's made his way past Gene McClawn through those pit stops there, and Ben McCluskey's got the jump as well. He's up into 4th place. Brilliant from the NXTGEN drivers. This race isn't over by any stretch of the imagination, particularly in this gold category. McCluskey can get some good laps in. He may be able to put in a bid for at least a podium, maybe for 2nd and 1st. Let's see how he can respond to Stephen Bird and Mike Barber's pace. Now, Kyle Oosthuizen and Nigel Stock have not made their... Actually, Nigel Stock is in the pits now, so he's making his scheduled stop now. But Kyle Oosthuizen has to make another stop. And I presume he's going to try and prolong this as much as he can. He's got a fairly clean track around him. In the bronze category, Papa Constantino leads, heading out of the pits. But that is Elwyn Sykes right behind him, who I think has already made a scheduled stop. So it's really close between these two. Championship protagonists, they head around turns number 3 and 4. Outside is Elwyn Sykes. He's going to go all the way around the outside and try and power it out the corner. He'll have the inside for the chicane coming up next. Still side by side. Sykes has the better line, and he's got his nose ahead. Through he goes into the lead. I'm just going to find out when his pit stop lap was. Ooh, lap 6. Ooh. Will he have to save fuel? I'm not too sure. Oh, and another diving attempt there from Papa Constantino to get it back. And Andy Chell back here. He's still close, within reach. 3rd place for him. And Adam Wilson-Weir behind him. Now, we did hear Andy Chow mention that he's doing everything. He's going to be doing everything he can for the remainder of the season to help his teammates. And Adam Wilson-Weir is one of them, and he's in the championship considerations for bronze category. But up here, we got Papa Constantino all over the back of Elwyn Sykes. We head into the chicane. Can't outbrake him, stays behind. Still battling side by side as we head towards turn number 1. It's a good exit from Papa Constantino. Oh, and he switches back to the inside. He wasn't quite alongside, actually. Has to get back in behind Elwyn Sykes. And Adam Wilson-Weir gets past Andy Chell. And we've had Mark Sykes drop a few places here. He's gone off the track and I think he's conceded some places. This is what's happened to him. He's lost a place to Baz Meacham. Oh, the car getting very sideways. And he just about hung on to it. He'd be very glad about that, but not so glad that he's let go of a position. Still close between these two, and a dive to the inside into the chicane from Papa Constantino, but he's on the wrong side of the track, I would say. Nice, clean getaway there from Elwyn Sykes to stay in front of the Cypriot driver. This is the battle for the lead, and Papa Constantino won't know if Elwyn Sykes needs another stop. So he won't care, he'll just go for the battle and he'll try and win the race on the track outright anyway. But they're going to be inviting in Adam Wilson-Weir the more they battle. And it is close between Stephen Bird and Mike Barber at the front as well, so we have to check in with them very shortly as well. Here we go. To the inside. Oh, not quite close enough. Tucks in right behind and actually touches the gravel on the way out. Does Papa Constantino loses a little bit of momentum. Adam Wilson-Weir is drawing them in, gaining corner by corner. But we can see how desperate Papa Constantino is to get past Elwyn Sykes. These three are battling in the championship. Meanwhile, in the gold category, McCluskey has made his way past Jamie Dury as Jamie Dury is stranded in the gravel in the background there. Oh, what a great night this was seeming for Jamie Dury, and it's just gone away there. That, I believe, is McCluskey right behind him. No contact between them. Jamie Dury just loses the rear end, and off he goes. Completely by himself. He'd be gutted about that. But it does promote McCluskey up to the podium spot. And the music to his ears, or to the music to his eyes, I would say on his relative, is that it's getting closer between Mike Barber and Stephen Bird. And the significance of that is if they start battling, McCluskey draws in closer. 25 minutes to go in this race. Plenty of time for all of this drama to unfold. Oosthuizen still leads in the silver category. But I believe he does need another scheduled stop. I believe anyway. Be incredible if he's got away with that incident at the start of the race, or towards the start of the race, taken a fast repair and an unscheduled stop and still managed to win the race. We'll see if that happens. We'll see if that comes to fruition. Battle for top spot in the bronze category here. Papa Constantino looking everywhere to get by. And it definitely seems that Papa Constantino is the quicker of the three drivers, maybe. But he can't quite find his way past. He's the only Lamborghini driver in the field as well, so it's quite remarkable to look at. It's like the times in Formula 1 where we only had like one footwork driver or something like that in the early 90s. We'll come back to this battle very, very shortly. McCluskey has put in a pretty good lap here, it seems. He's dropped a lot of time too. Mike Barber, sorry, the opposite. He's dropped the time between him and Barber. That's him just up ahead there. And Stephen Bird frantically flashing his lights there to try and say to these drivers, get out the way. I'm coming through, and Andy Chell's off the track there. Something's happened to him. Still fourth. He might well drop behind Andy Rooney here. But he was not too far behind the likes of Adam Wilson-Weir. Not enough of the car slowed down there for that corner. And it sends himself off. Fastest lap of the race just set by Ben McCluskey, so he has the bonus points. But he's also the fastest man on the track. Nearly by a whole second. 8/10 quicker than Stephen Bird and 9/10 quicker than Mike Barber on that last lap. This could be a very interesting final quarter of the race if these three get close together. And they're encountering traffic now as well, so that's really going to throw a spanner in the works. Mike Barber trying to get past one of the Quatermass cars there. Stephen Bird's trying to get past Nigel Stock here. And that's what I mentioned earlier on in the night, ladies and gentlemen. Traffic is a big factor here at Zolder. You're always going to have cars around you at this track, given how narrow and short it actually is. It is one of the shortest tracks of the season. Next week we've got another one in the form of Interlagos. Checking back in on this bronze battle. Still close between Sykes and Papaconstantino. Wilson-Weir can't quite close that gap just yet. Can't quite close the gap, but I suppose if Papaconstantino and Sykes battle again, as we see Sykes go a little bit wide there, heading out of turn number 4. But it's not enough to put an attack on himself from Papaconstantino. As they head to the chicane. Oh, a big late move from Papaconstantino. He gets to the inside. But Elwyn Sykes tries to shut the door side by side between the two, and they make contact. And Wilson-Weir's round the rear, but he has to stamp on the brakes as he can't get it past on this narrow track. Papaconstantino's through though. Guarding the inside as we head down to the hairpin. Elwyn Sykes might feel a bit aggrieved that he lost the place there. He chucks it to the outside, but he can't quite make it. Papaconstantino holds the position at the moment. No response from Elwyn Sykes, not quite close enough, but Adam Wilson-Weir is really close behind. Let's just see that again, because that happened in the blink of an eye. Nice exit from the chicane here from Papaconstantino. You can see there, much better exit, and as we go over the hill, the Lamborghini is able to power its way around the outside of the McLaren. Very late braking, does get to the inside. Well, I gotta say, Papaconstantino was on the curb, but then the contact in the middle of the corner is probably going to be the debatable one. You could say Papaconstantino was still alongside. You could say, well, he no longer had the corner. You could say either way there. But when we rejoin here, Papaconstantino is already stretching a little bit. Oh, and a big bump across the curb there from Elwyn Sykes. He's put him under pressure from Wilson-Weir, and he's already through. He's going to be passed before we even get to the chicane. So, within a lap, Sykes has lost first place and second place. Wilson-Weir, now it'd be interesting to see if he can keep up or even catch Papaconstantino here. Papaconstantino seems to be lightning quick in this bronze category right here at the moment. But we'll see how Wilson-Weir in the Corvette can respond to this. Meanwhile, it's close. It's real close between Bird and Barber. There he is. There's second place right behind him. And just back there, you can see him there, is Ben McCluskey. He's closing in. So Stephen Bird, whereas the pace in race number 1 was real good for Stephen Bird, should I say qualifying actually, it's not quite mounting up in this feature race. Another very fast lap from McCluskey, more than a second clear than these two at the front. Alan McCain's also very quick, likewise with McLaughlin and Wessels. They're all in the 29s, but in the 1 minute 30s is Stephen Bird and Mike Barber, whose race is in the lead here, might be under a little bit of threat from the incoming drivers behind. There's back markers at the front here. I think that's Kevin Smith and one of the ECO drivers. But this could be a very, very interesting climax to the race for top 3, maybe as far as the top 6 in this gold category. because Wessels is closing in, and Alan McCain, if he can keep his pace up, will also close in. This is the view from Stephen Bird again. He's pulled away a little bit from Mike Barber on that lap, but it is still relatively close. In comes Ben McCluskey. He's within a second of Stephen Bird now. Now if McCluskey can get himself into that first place, it really does benefit his championship. It for me put it to a point where you think, can anyone stop him? Can anyone stop him? It will take retirements at this point, multiple retirements, for it to go away. After the conclusion of tonight, there's only 5 individual races left in the championship. We've got 2 at Interlagos, 2 at Nürburgring, and then just 1 at Daytona. So there's not many races, not many opportunities to gain back points. As McCluskey here is real close to Mike Barber, trying to get his way around Kevin Smith. Maybe Kevin Smith was trying to... I think he was. I think Kevin Smith was just trying to help out his teammates a little bit there. Just leave it on the inside of McCluskey and slow him down a little bit. It gives Mike Barber a bit of breathing space here. And McCluskey will have to close that gap up again. Meanwhile, back here, our race 1 winner, Stefan Wessels, gaining on McLaughlin and Alan McCain. Don't write him off for a good result in this race either. Very good pace on him as well. If he can get past these 2 ahead, he might be able to mount a challenge on McCluskey if he gets locked into a battle with the 2 ahead. Stephen Bird goes past the backmarker, likewise with Mike Barber. Meanwhile, in the bronze category, it's a top 3 battle in the gold category, but also in the bronze category here. And it's still fairly close between these 3. Wilson-Weir is not letting Papa Constantino get away. Still close between them. Thrilling stuff as we're heading into the final part of the season after tonight's. Great battles on the track and great battles in the championship. I'd say the premier category to look at when it comes to a championship battle for top spot is in the bronze category. Oh, something's happened. Oh, it's Andy Rooney and Gene McClaughlin. They've had an incident in the chicane. So there you go, here is Gene McClaughlin, and just ahead of him is Andy Rooney, and Andy Rooney was leading the championship heading into tonight, going horribly wrong from here, and there's a big lunge from Gene McClaughlin, and then a hit from the rear from Andy Rooney. It just sends Gene round. Andy Rooney, his night's not going so well. He's 5th place, to be fair. It's not the end of the world, but he'll see his championship rivals up the road in the higher positions, and he'll feel a bit worthless in that sense, I think. But there's plenty of races. Well, I say there's plenty of races. I just denied that. There's not many races left, but there are other opportunities. Stefan Wessels is up to 5th place. He's got Alan McCain to get past, but Alan McCain is having one of his better races of the season. It's got to be said. Touch wood. He's given the title by me of one of the most unlucky drivers in Next Gen. Really is. But tonight's been good. He's been solid tonight, both in the wet and here in the dry. Close between these 3 again. It's closed up to within a second between the 3 of them yet again. But when will battle commence between these 3? Stephen Bird, who was heroic in his driving last time out at the Nordschleife, was looking to repeat it potentially tonight with a pole position for the sprint race. but a lap 1 incident set him well down the order. He gets the reverse grid pole for this race, but it's not come easy. And his championship rival, he'll be the one he's keeping an eye on, is just right behind him there, and points-wise, he's not going to lose many points on Stephen Bird as it stands. In fact, he's only going to lose 5 points if it finishes as it stands. Because McCluskey has the bonus points, he'll score 20 points finishing in this 3rd place, if he does finish in this 3rd place. Into the chicane again. Now McCluskey will be keen to make sure that he makes a move that doesn't drop him back too far from Stephen Bird. There's only 12 minutes left in this race, so there's not a huge amount of laps left to get it done. So you really won't want to make a move that's going to cost you it, well, not just tenths, but seconds on the car in front. Just checking in on Silvers again. Kyle Oosthuizen's opening up a gap to near 5 seconds from Baz Meacham. Baz Meacham, I would say, probable for a win here, because I'm fairly sure Kyle Oosthuizen did not make a scheduled pit stop. If he has, wow, there's some going. But that's what this silver category is really hanging on at the moment, is to find out if Kyle Oosthuizen does have enough gas to get to the end. And there was an instant back there. I think that was Matt Gatter. Yes, it was. He's off here. That was just around Kyle Oosthuizen there. Hits the grass on the inside and it spins the car around into the tyres. Oh, and it's a very, very tricky spot to be in the middle of the track as he limps away from that incident. Tricky track to overtake at is Zolder, and actually the gap has dropped to further than a second between Bird and Barber. It is a very tricky track to overtake on. You're relying on the other driver making mistakes. That has happened a lot tonight, to be fair, to a lot of these drivers. As McCluskey does actually have a good exit. He might be able to challenge a move into the hairpin here. Late break into the inside. Can he make it? Mike Barber goes a little bit wide on the outside. He's probably trying to get a good exit here, but he hasn't. McCluskey's actually had a very good exit on the inside of the corner there. He'll have the inside for the next chicane, but he's got most of his car ahead, and he does outbrake Mike Barber into the final chicane. Into 2nd place goes McCluskey, and he's still within reach of Stephen Bird, still within a second. But can Mike Barber respond? Can he retort with a move on McCluskey? We'll have to see. Mike Barber might just cash in for a podium, though. I just wonder if he'll do that to pick up points for himself and the team. Stephen Bird will be the one with a frown on his face at the moment, as he might be seeing the championship slip away a little bit here. He's scoring good points, and he's keeping things honest relatively with McCluskey. But he needs to be outscoring McCluskey by a lot of points. And if McCluskey keeps getting up to these high positions, Bird can't do anything but. Can't do anything about it. The view from Bird and then the view from McCluskey. Heading into the hairpin where he made the move for 2nd place just a lap ago. You just see with the way McCluskey's driving, he's so comfortable with the way the car handles. He's able to get the right amount of acceleration out of the corner. Just to keep that car in the direction that it needs to go. Into turn number 1. 8 minutes to go. I make that about 5 laps to go in this race. Plenty of time for McCluskey to the Challenger move. But the thing is, when you're in the car, those 5 laps pass by fairly quick. Catching one thing, passing is another, and then keeping it is another, as a couple of wise men once said. A little bit of a rundown of our order, our top 3s in each category at the moment. It's Stephen Bird, McCluskey and Barber close to each other in this top 3 of the golds at the moment. In the silvers, Oosthuizen still leads. Remains to be seen if he's on strategy or not. Is he fuel saving at this point? I'm not too sure. His pace still seems good. Baz Meacham second, and Mark Sykes, who was leading this a lot of this race, is third. For another strong result for him. And still a close battle for the top 3 in the bronze category as well. Papa Constantino leads it from Adam Wilson-Weir and Elwyn Sykes in third. And it's equally a battle for the championship as well. For all that to consider. Off with it. Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, we got it just in time. McCluskey makes the move on Stephen Bird. We'll just get another shot of it, so it might have been a mistake. In fact, it was. McCluskey was close to Bird. And as we head into the hairpin, a good exit from McCluskey. Here we go. God, and it was Stephen Bird. He goes to the outside. We're going to stay with it because I think he's challenged back as Stephen Bird. Through goes McCluskey. Goes a little bit wide there. Stephen Bird gets a good exit there. And as we head towards turn number 1, it might be a response from... Oh, look how tight that was to the inside. Stephen Bird really not giving it up there. And as he goes to the inside of turn number 1, he tries to take it back, but McCluskey's still on the inside, heading into turn number 2. And it's so close between them still. We go back to the live action. Look how close it is. Mike Barber's to the inside and makes it through at the chicane into second place. Goes the Verado Motorsport driver. He capitalizes on the slowing of the 2 cars and he gets it through into second place. McCluskey breaks away a little bit though with that move, as they had to slow down a lot more, did Barber and Bird, through the chicane there. But into second place Barber goes and pushing it a bit hard out of the corner there. Hits the grass. But McCluskey flashing his lights to say to the back marker, get out the way mate, I'm in a race here. McCluskey might well have got himself a feature race win here. He's responding by opening up a huge gap already to Mike Barber, more than a second already. But Mike Barber might have done nearly enough there to keep second place, which he was holding for quite a long time in this race. A very opportunistic move. One of the moves of the race, I would say, to make second place potentially his. Still close between these 3 as well. Papa Constantino, Wilson-Weir and Sykes. 5 minutes to go in this race. That'll be about 3 or 4 laps to go. And we've also got this gold battle back here as well. They're approaching on this battle, so the bronze category leaders here will be praying that the golds don't compromise their race too much, and likewise the other way around from the golds. So close between these 3. Wilson-Weir needs to do something out of the ordinary to try and make a move on Papa Constantino. And it's breaking a little bit later here and there, which you could just about see as they entered the hairpin just then. Accelerating a little bit earlier out of this corner and the other. Trying alternative lines to get the better of the driver in front of you. Back here though, McCluskey's stretching away, but I think Bird is going to mount a challenge on Barber yet again to try and take back that second place. A frustrating lap and a half this has been for Stephen Bird. Now Baz Meacham and Mark Sykes have taken the first and second in this race, because Kyle Oosthuizen is supposed to be in the pits, but I don't see him. Oh, has he dropped off? I think Kyle Oosthuizen has disconnected, you know, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my word. The sim racing equivalent of an engine blowing up has just happened to Kyle Oosthuizen. Disconnected from the server. Oh, the luck. I mean, to Nigel Stock, that'd be a huge sigh of relief. But it's not a way you want to get a championship or points or even a win on another driver. It does mean that Baz Meacham promotes to first in category. Now, he's already won a race this season, and that was at Suzuka. And that was the feature race of Suzuka. And Mark Sykes, this would be his best results in the silver category. Ian Manners will pull back some points in the silver category tonight as well. So this might put him in good contention for the championship as we head into the next round. As we see side by side between Barber and Bird. Bird goes through at turn 1 here, but Barber will try and respond with an undercut here. But will have the outside for turn number 2, which is not the line to be on. But can he challenge all the way around the corner and onto the next couple of corners? Let's see what happens. Looks all over the rear. Has to line it up as we go through turn number 4 here. Oh, you saw the track and more. A little bit of dust kicking up from the gravel trap there. Back there, we've also got Alan McCain and Wessels close to battling as well. So Mike Barber drops down to 3rd place for the time being. Stephen Bird gets back his 2nd place. McCluskey has just cleared the way up the road there, though. 2.5 seconds clear. And on his way, potentially, to another win in the series. Wessels has made a move there, as you can see, on Alan McCain. That was a very late manoeuvre. We just about saw in the corner of our eye there to pass Alan McCain for 4th place. Oh, so close again between Bird and Barber. Side by side, but Bird makes it back through. And side by side again between Alan McCain and Wessels. McCain is challenging back. Just about has his car on the inside as we head towards the chicane. McCain challenges the move. Wessels stays on the outside, so you have the inside for the next corner. But both of them bogged down a little bit on the exit. McCain might be able to try again. As we head towards turn number 1, the white flag is waving. McCluskey's on his final lap. McCain can't challenge the move here. Going into turn number 1. We've also got the bronze category to keep an eye on as well. Here they are. Now they will not be on their final lap unless they do let through McCluskey. That might be what Papa Constantino is hoping for, because that'll give him a lap less to defend this lead from. Oh, and there we go. Stephen Bird getting stuck behind the back marker, and through goes Barber. Back into 2nd place. And up here we got McCluskey trying to get past the top 3 in the bronze category as well. And we've got a fair few overtakes to look out after this race, ladies and gentlemen. But Mike Barber's back into 2nd place. Let's just keep an eye on this. Let's see if there's a big lunge to the inside from Stephen Bird. No, he can't make it. What about Alan McCain? Can he make a move on Wessels? No, he can't. There's still the chicane to contend up the road here. But I don't think Stephen Bird's going to be close enough. Here comes Ben McCluskey, though. He'll take another win here, and he'll extend his championship lead. Surely, at this point, it's one hand on the trophy. Mike Barber, with a big move on the final lap, takes 2nd place from Stephen Bird. He'll feel a bit aggrieved by the back marker potentially holding him up there. We'll have to recheck that later. But it was looking like an almost certain 1st place earlier on in the race. Has turned to 3rd in the end. But Baz Meacham here will take a win in the silver category. His 2nd of the season. Back to the top step. And you must think, if Baz Meacham had a little bit more luck on his side, he probably could have been a championship contender this season with some of the results he's had. He takes the win in the silver category. And Mark Sykes, with his best result of the season, will take 2nd in category. Ian Manners will come through in 3rd place. And that puts him closer to Nigel Stock in the championship. Now we've got the bronze category still battling. Papaconstantino stays in front of Adam Wilson-Weir, and that might have been the last opportunity. Elwyn Sykes is looking all over the rear of Wilson-Weir, but it might be it. That might have been game, set and match for Papaconstantino. Brilliant defending from him in the latter part of this race, but brilliant battling from all three of them. Papaconstantino wins the bronze category here at Zolder in the feature race. Wilson-Weir second and Elwyn Sykes third. 6.5 tenths between them as they come across the line to finish that race. Whoa. Tonight has definitely actually been one of my favourite rounds we've had this season. It's been brilliant. Great battling, great strategies, great overtaking. Fantastic battles to watch, and some great weather. But that man's done it again. McCluskey really has put one hand on the championship at this point. In my opinion, he has anyway. He's got 3 rounds to go to do it, to seal it. Okay, so let's go through the results and then we'll look back through the last couple of laps there. A couple of the battles that we witnessed towards the end of that race. In the gold category, first of all, though, it's McCluskey who takes the win in category by 3.5 seconds from Mike Barber and Stephen Bird, who battled on to the end. Stefan Wessels, who won the sprint race, will take a 4th in this feature race, getting past Alan McCain towards the end of the race. And Alan McCain, with one of his best results of the season, 5th place for him. Gaz Williams is 6th from Jamie Dory. Quite an impressive night for him, but the feature race not quite as good as the sprint race, but 7th place for him. G. McLaughlin in 8th position with Martin Hobson in 9th and Ben Bennyworth in 10th. Ben Oucher and Sean Shute round off the finishers. Silver category, and it's a win for Baz Meacham. He takes 1st position from Mark Sykes, his best result of the season so far. Ian Manners getting his championship challenge back on track, I think, with that result. 3rd place for him. And Paul Walsh in 4th position. Another strong result for him, similar to what he had at Monza just a few rounds ago. Aaron Hobson, 5th, one of his best results of the season as well, followed by Mark Baker in 6th, Wesley Lewin in 7th, Matthew Addy in 8th, Ryan Blackwell, a pretty impressive debut with a podium position in the sprint race, but 9th in this race for him. Paul Williams in 10th, followed by Nigel Stock in 11th, Kevin Smith 12th, Sammy Ariba in 13th, and Kyle Oosthuizen had a disconnection 4 laps from the end and will take no points. Bronze category, and it's Gabriel Papaconstantino with a great battle between him, Adam Wilson-Weir and Elwyn Sykes throughout the majority of that race, and the 3 finish within 6.5 tenths of each other at the end of that race. We'll find out later who leads the championship at the 3 after this, but it's proven that this bronze category is going to be very close for the rest of the season. Stein Vatens takes 4th position, who won the sprint race, and Andy Rooney, who was leading the championship tonight, heading into tonight, might not be leading it now, but it's a 5th place for him and still quite a lot of points. John Berry in 6th position, followed by Kurt Van Honecker, Rob Savage in 8th position, Andy Chell 9th, Craig Tillotson 10th, and Matt Galter takes 11th. So we're going to look at some replays before we head into the interview rooms. Now I want to see the move that sealed it for Mike Barber. Let's start here. So here we go. This is starting the final lap. So Stephen Bird gets it alongside, choosing to go left from Mike Barber. Now we're waiting for the chicane, which is just on the other end of this sector. Barber looks to the outside. We saw he tried to power it around there, but couldn't quite make it. Now, we look up the road a little bit. There will be a back marker who falls into view. And that's what holds up Stephen Bird on the exit of the chicane. Barber dropped back a little bit there, as you can see. But Stephen Bird... it might be the next lap. Do excuse me. We'll stay with it, though. Because this is the penultimate lap. The next lap will be the final lap. We'll stay with it. Now, at this point, you're thinking Stephen Bird might well have secured second place here. Let's see if there was a move into the hairpin. So much happened in that race, I can't quite remember what actually happened, all in all. Mike Barber challenged us to the outside there. Very late braking, but perhaps a little too late. So the next lap is really the one to look out for. The final lap starts now. Once they cross the line. There's the back marker we were talking about. That's Matt Gatter, actually. So as we head towards the chicane, so here we go. Stephen Bird's probably flashing his lights at this point. Bird's being held up here, and he tries to go right of Gatter, but it doesn't work. Gatter is trying to stay off the racing line, and Mike Barber just powers it around the outside and gets through. And that's what does it. That's what secures it for Mike Barber. And actually, I think we're going to chat to Mike Barber very shortly, actually. Just going to find the... Just going to take ourselves back to one of the moments of the race while we chat to Mike. Just bear with me while I'm trying to figure out where the replay's gone. Right, let's start from there. So there we go. We're going to chat to Mike Barber first of all. So Mike, welcome to the comms booth, mate. Oh, were you not expecting that?
You're right.
Yeah, you okay? Have I caught you at a good time?
Yeah, it'll be fine, absolutely.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry for the surprise there. But we thought you'd pull you in because you were the sighting point of a great battle at the end there. Just talk us through the last couple of laps there, because it was very exciting.
I felt honestly, McCluskey is so fast. He's come through the field. I can't believe how fast he's gone through. I kept watching me relative. He kept coming and coming and coming, and I thought, right, I'm going to let him go, let him fight with Stephen. They did. They had a little battle. I got a place back, and then he just disappeared up the road, and that was it for me. His true pace is amazing.
Certainly has. I was saying it towards the end. He's put one hand on the championship potentially from tonight.
Definitely, yeah. Doesn't matter where he starts. He seems to be at the top every race. He's fantastic driving.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree. But chat us through the final laps, battling with Stephen there, because my word, it was really good to watch.
It was really good, yeah. It's just unfortunate for him. He got blocked by that back marker, sadly. Otherwise, I think he would have had it in fairness. It was all nerve-wracking. I think both of us were struggling with tyres at the end. I don't really know what could have happened if the back marker wasn't there. We'll never know.
Yeah, exactly. But you've taken second place nonetheless. A good result for you tonight. But how about the first race, the sprint race? Go on.
No. Well, I started 36th, I think, and clawed my way through. And then I think it was second to last lap. I had a little battle with Gene McClure. And we had a bit close racing. Unfortunately, tangled on the chicane before the pitch straight, sadly. I think it ruined a couple of positions for him, but it was good to get through the field, I suppose. I had a clean race up until then.
Did you enjoy driving in the wet?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is. I think it's really, you've got to be on form. I mean, you've got to practice in the wet, really on the edge of your seat. Really, it was good. I enjoyed it.
Excellent. Now, I'm not quite sure what's happening in the championship situation after tonight, but you were holding a top 5 heading into tonight. Do you feel 4th or 3rd maybe on the cards?
My aim is third, obviously, now. There's no chance of me catching up McCluskey, and I think 2nd's Bird now, possibly, or Williams. So my aim now is to get 3rd and just keep pushing as hard as I can to get 3rd now. Hopefully with no penalties, no deductions, stay out the trouble. Best as I can, that's my aim.
Excellent. Well, we're looking forward to that. Looking forward to more battles, hopefully, throughout the season. Yeah, before we shoot off, Mike, first of all, well done for tonight. Strong performance tonight. Anybody you want to give a shout out to? Any friends, family, sponsors?
No, just the Ferrano team. Just appreciate him, and in fairness, all the chaps that are running this championship, it has been a good championship actually. As much as I'm a moaner and I have enjoyed it. You're all doing a great job, and I'm really appreciative of it.
I'll pass that on to Gaz.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Mike. Thank you for the entertainment tonight as well. We'll see you next time at Interlagos.
See you soon. Thanks, Alex. Bye.
There we go. Lovely chap. And there was the move again for the lead. And like you said, it was unfortunate that Stephen got caught up in that. You could look at that, you could look at what Stephen did, and you could think, oh, why didn't he just go left? You know, when you're in that kind of a moment where you see the car in front, you see their kind of behaviour, and when you're looking in the heat of a moment, and when you're looking from the cockpit, it seems different to how it appears to us on broadcast, and when you look at the incident, or look at the overtake 3 times on replays directly after, you could say Stephen should have gone left. Of course everyone will say that. But in the heat of the moment, these reactionary moments, your brain, your body, your brain and body instincts tell you to do X. And that's what Stephen Bird did there. And like Mike said, if the back marker wasn't there, who knows what would have happened. But let's move on to our next interview. We haven't got Andy Chell interviewed tonight, but we will have a chat to another driver who was at the pinpoint of all the impressive battling tonight. And we're going to chat to Adam Wilson-Weir next. So we're going to pull Adam into the comms booth. So first of all, Adam, can you hear us?
Hi, hello. Can you hear me?
Yep. Can. I'm just going to turn you up a tiny bit, but yep, very good. Welcome to the comms booth, I believe for the first time this season, Adam, but welcome along. First of all, initial reactions after that race. Pretty good second place for you.
Yeah, that race was actually really good for me. Wet was a bit ropey. You know, I mean, there's obviously a wet race, you know, constantly fighting with the car. But the Corvette doesn't really handle too well in the wet, so I was just trying to be consistent and, yeah, try and get as good a result as I can.
Excellent. So, yeah, pretty tricky in the sprint race there, but in the feature race, really good battling between the three of you, between Gabrielle, yourself, and Elwyn Sykes. How was it from your point of view?
That was the sweatiest 30 minutes I've had in this championship. Like, that was really good racing, and so my hat's off to them guys. They raced really well. Both of them really quick drivers. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed that.
Excellent. And to be honest, at the start of the season, I wouldn't have put you down as a bronze category contender for the championship. Sorry to say, I wouldn't have. But at this point, you're looking very good for the championship. You may have snuck the championship lead tonight. I'm not too sure. But you must be feeling pretty good about your chances at this point.
Yeah, well, I just take it one day at a time, you know. There's no point like getting my hopes up and then being crushed at the end. So, but I just have to give like the thanks to the team for putting the support in. Like, I've only been on iRacing for about 2 months now, so
oh wow. I
mean, it's I'm just trying to get there, and the guys have been absolutely fantastic. My teammates as well, like John, Rob, Andy Rooney and stuff. Absolutely fantastic, giving me the support I need, and yeah, been fantastic in the team.
A prodigy in the making, maybe. Fantastic. Well, that's a great case to see that you've only been here for 3 years. I've been on iRacing for 13 years, and I haven't got very good yet. But yeah, really impressive. So Interlagos is coming up next for you, and you've just come off the back of a good result here. How are you feeling about Interlagos next week? Is it a track you like?
Well, I haven't really drove it in GT3. I know the track, so that's one beneficial thing. But I just hope it doesn't rain. We all seen the Formula 1.
Well, it was a great race to watch in the Formula 1, so I'll hope for the same. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, before we shoot off, Adam, anybody you want to give a shout out to? Any friends, family, sponsors, etc.?
Yeah, firstly, I just want to give a shout out to the team, especially the team manager Andy Shell, the teammates Rob, we got Ben and Andy Rooney and stuff. Yeah, sorry, there's so many of us now, I just can't think, but I just want to give a shout out to people who's watching on the stream. You know, we all appreciate it, the support you're all giving us, especially my father-in-law who watches constantly every week, and the wife too. Yeah, just want to, and also the sponsors, can't forget about.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for the entertainment tonight, Adam, and thanks very much for joining us in the comms booth. We'll see you next time at Interlagos.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for the great job you're putting on. Fantastic.
Oh, thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Thanks, mate.
All the best.
There we go. Adam chatting to us there about his race. And so close between these three in that race. It was great to watch. It's great to see that not only the points situation in the championship is super close, but also the battles on track are very close as well. We haven't got any more interviews, I believe. Our usual residents in the comms box are not available, they said. I think. He says. I believe so. Okay, so we do have an update to the championship standings, so we're going to take a look at them now. So we'll start off with the golds and see what the situation has done there. Ben McCluskey still leads the championship, but a very huge margin, it's got to be said, by 73 points from Stephen Bird in second place, who with his results tonight holds on to second place, but only by 10 points from Gaz Williams. Mike Barber gains up to fourth position, with Edwin Simpson being absent for another race tonight. But Mike Barber will need to put in some good points finishes to catch up with Gaz Williams for third place. Silver category, however, Kyle Oosthuizen still leads the championship, but it's still only by 5 points from Nigel Stock. So Nigel Stock actually outscored Kyle Oosthuizen by 1 point tonight. But Ian Manners, the one that benefits the most, he scored 11 to 12 points more than his two ahead of him, and he gains to within 23 points of the top spot. So it's well and truly possible for Ian Manners to close that in. Jeffrey Kruger misses a round, and that might hamper his chances of the championship. Fourth place for him at the moment. Bronze category, Adam Wilson-Weir does in fact lead the championship coming out of tonight, and he leads it by 5 points from Elwyn Sykes. Andy Rooney drops to tied second place, and Gabriel Papaconstantino closes in. He's only 9 points behind top spot Adam Wilson-Weir, so 9 points separating the top four in the bronze championship. Teams championship now, and it's Next Gen Racing. Benji Simfo is still leading the championship, and they pretty much have one hand on the trophy already. I believe they could probably secure it on the conclusion of round 9 as things stand. CSA team pass up in second place, 103 points down, but a strong result for them tonight on 65 points scored. Second highest team scored in tonight's racing, with Wessels getting the win in race number 1. Elwyn Sykes getting a podium place, and Wessels getting a fourth place in the feature race as well, so strong points for them. Yorkshire Mafia Racing have jumped up to third in the standings, with both Hobsons and Stephen Bird scoring big points for them. They're tied third place with Quatermass Power Drivers Academy, who dropped from second to fourth in this round. And Quatermass Motorsports stay in fifth in the championship, just ahead of CSA Team Wozer, who've dropped out of the top 5. So there we go. We have a new championship leader in the bronze category, and things get even closer in the silver category, and things get even farther in the gold category. But we are going to call that tonight, ladies and gentlemen. This has been round 7 at Zolder. This brilliant track has hosted round 7 of the championship. Next week, though, we're heading off to Interlagos. In between lakes is what it stands for in Brazil's language. And we're going to be heading there for round 8 of the championship as we head into the final 3 rounds for the climax of this season. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the Next Gen Racing GT3 Season 6, Round 7 at Zolder. I've been Alex Everett, your commentator tonight. We'll be back next week in Brazil. Let's hope for a repeat of the Formula 1 race, but even more drama and even more excitement, hopefully, from these guys. And maybe more wet weather would be nice. That's our taking out of tonight. Hopefully we see that. We'll see you next time, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. Good night.
Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, that's all from us here at Next Gen Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.